I'm ready now.
What's that?
Okay, it's June 24th. Going to call the Selectmen's meeting to order. First order of business is to salute the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy summer.
First item on the agenda is public input. Do we have any? I see a lot of public out here. Okay, then the next order of business is the review of the minutes.
I do have a public input question, if I could.
Sure.
I don't know if it has anything to, cell service is way down with the usage for the summer folks that have. Does that have any effect on, the town is just involved with Spectrum TV, correct? They're not involved in our cable providers.
Okay.
Is
There's
that
cell
true?
phone and there's television.
Right, two different things,
Two
is that
different
correct?
things.
That's what I'm asking. So the town is involved with our cable television,
Right.
but it has nothing to do with our
Well, not nothing,
cell
because we
providers.
are involved with a survey that's questioning the veracity of the cell service, 100% service in each block that they make. And it's been proven that they can find one spot in every block where they actually do have service. That doesn't mean they have service for the whole block. So that's been put together. We went to one meeting about that, and they bought, I believe, 5 different or 6 different phones to test all of the areas. And it's generally Grafton, Coas, and Carroll, that the towns that are involved in that. They're trying to form a coalition.
I know
Because we have worse cell phone service here than they do in the middle of Africa. Just-
Yeah, if I can
Yes.
expand just a little bit. So we license the cable provider for their service to the town. But the only part of what we license with them is the television signal transmission. This is under a law that was enacted back in the 70s, I think. So all the other stuff that comes over the table, the cable, is outside of the licensing agreement. The telephone, the internet, all that stuff, we have no
No control.
impact on.
We have no way
The
out of it.
licensing of cell phone spectrum is done by the FCC. And as Chip mentioned, we're working with the Lakes Region Planning Commission to better document the cell signal service in our community and other communities around the area. And the objective of that is to demonstrate back that the current providers are not living up to the terms of their license for the spectrum. When you sign on, you win the bid for the license, you make a commitment that you're going to have X% coverage in the geographic area.
TV.
No, this is not TV, this is the cell phone.
Cell phone,
Okay,
okay.
right. And
So you do have some
so,
say.
well,
We're finding we don't have much.
No, but the say on the cell phone, okay, there isn't any direct say. What we're trying to do is put together enough information to go back to the FCC to demonstrate that they're not in compliance with their license. But as a town or as a region, we don't have any direct say in whether they get that the license is renewed or extended or whatever.
So I was curious about it because I've noticed over the past month that service has depleted generally all over the area.
As the number of users,
Correct, and then so just coming back from Montana, I was able to verify that, yes, in the summer when it's a very similar area, when all the tourists come back or the second homeowners, they just put their cell phones away for the summer because they don't work pretty much because there's too much usage.
Yeah, I put mine away for the summer in 2005.
Did you?
I haven't
Nice.
taken it out yet.
That's a nice luxury.
All right, are we ready for minutes?
Yes.
Okay, the first set of minutes are the last public meeting, June 10th at 9 a.m.
I didn't see any,
I'm all set.
I just had a question on page 2. Fourth paragraph starts with Steve Wingate. The last sentence, the selectmen explained that class 6 roads are not maintained and use is not restricted.
correct.
Correct. That's what was said.
Okay, I'm not sure that, if that's what's said, then I'm fine with it. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the next set of minutes are the non-public at 9:29 a.m.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I don't see any reason to have these sealed.
No, they weren't sealed.
Okay.
Yep.
And the next set of minutes are non-public at 11:43.
Then we got the public. Right. Or am I missing a set of minutes?
No, you're right there.
The public minutes on the 14th, and then the non-public minutes on the 14th, right?
All right. Time sensitive here. June 14th, public minutes, 9 a.m.
I have no issues.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And now we'll do the non-public at 11:43.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And these were not sealed either.
Right.
First appointment, Philip Hunter,
Well,
Mr. Swap Shop.
yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Calm down.
Thank you for entertaining us. So we went back and we had to tighten up a few things, namely signage and primarily volunteerism, which we have addressed. We've had continued to meet every Monday night to address these things and pull it together. And I think we have. So just a rough outline. We're going to talk about location. We've agreed with Clay on
It
and
changed
yourself.
again, I think, didn't it, Clay?
Oh,
It's up to you.
I'm sorry.
It's up to you.
When we spoke
Yeah.
Saturday, I think it was, and you were thinking it should move back to where it used to
Well,
be.
yeah, I don't want, my overriding concern is as long as safety is met, I don't want anything to hinder the success of the new swap shop.
Right, and
So-
your thinking was that
When they're not, when it's closed,
when you're unavailable, or they're unavailable, it's hard for you to figure out who's dropping stuff
exactly.
behind your back. So,
Yeah.
is that gonna be okay with you guys?
that was what we wanted initially, so that's
Sure.
wonderful with us. We felt
I take a different point of view.
All right. It's Monday.
Yep. The location needs to be settled. I support the new location nearer the entrance to the facility. It is separate from the old location. It cuts down on the cross-traffic pattern. It provides for a better spot for a family to unload and check out items. If a car has no permit, it allows for the proper action to take place. If the item cannot be accepted, the business of paying a fee and unloading is right next to one of the containers. The new location is good for optics. It focuses attention on the new swap shop operation. Thank you.
And when you clarify where this location is
Right.
that you prefer.
Where the cones are.
Where the cones are.
It'd be on a
no plow?
yes, it would be a test basis.
Any thoughts there, Brother Marcuson?
You know, as far as I'm concerned, wherever it works
Yeah.
is where it ought to go, or where we think it stands the best shot of working. Where it used to be does have the benefit of being closer to the eyeballs of the staff, particularly to monitor what's going on when nobody's around. So particularly if Clay's saying he thinks they can monitor it better there, I think putting it someplace where it's out of sight, out of mind is more of a invitation for people to do what they're not supposed to do.
Well, I would say it's also, in my opinion, since we're going here, the location down there is, many people are doing 20, 25 miles an hour by the time they have left the glass container and scooting by. So I don't see that, personally, that it's safer down below. I felt it was a detriment, and I also felt that the visibility just from the staff and availability was very limited down there. But I'm willing to go with wherever Clay feels is good. I didn't see it as a safety problem before, but I wasn't working there.
And in spite of the autonomy of the swap shop that we're developing here, there's always going to be instances where there's some issue that needs to be resolved, and Clay needs to continue to be the overall manager of the site.
Yes.
I'm more in favor of adjusting or doing something where it was.
I did, and I'm curious, have you met with Clay on this, Lloyd? Is that where you're coming from? Is that why you're pushing this, or I'm just trying to get it back?
I personally have observed inappropriate behavior. People drop things off and then go against traffic. It's about 11 different instances I've seen. I think we ought to try it temporarily where the cones are.
Because of 11 instances
Yes.
of people.
I have personally observed myself.
And so I would say that
And by the way, I go with the majority rule.
So we don't have consensus here. So Bill and I can disagree with Lloyd and
Yes, they can.
So I would say that personally, I'm probably guilty of going against traffic because I didn't realize that it was kind of a law that once you entered, you could only keep going in a clockwise motion. I'm very guilty of turning and going and doing multiple loops within the facility.
Okay, so we've corrected the behavior of one resident. Right here at the table.
Okay.
All right, so now we only got 2,349 others to get the
I was
word out
probably
to.
one of the
It'll be
11,
great.
no, there's only 10 others.
and we're remiss in not having stripes on the road and arrows.
That's better, yeah.
Well, and obviously, you're at your own risk. I'm not like wheeling around trying, you look before you turn and go the other direction. Never run over anybody or hit anybody. Yeah, right. So, anyway.
Next issue.
Okay. Next issue is volunteers. We have quite a few volunteers. I didn't get a bottom count. These are for you. These are volunteers for these are for your funds, that have signed a disclaimer, the volunteer service statement and agreement. These are all the folks so far. We have others that have not yet signed them. These are the Town of Tuckamore volunteer appointment that needs to be signed by one of the selectmen. And these are also filled out by all those responsible people.
Okay.
So those are for you to be signed. I don't think you have to give those back. I think you have to have them on file, is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
Okay. And we also have
And this whole thing is,
So we have the
Yes.
fire chief up there volunteering.
yes.
yes, but all of this is in accordance with Primex's guidance
Correct.
to provide proper protection both for the individuals involved and for the town.
Okay, Great.
Okay. We have a schedule, I don't have multiple copies to pass out, that is, we're full through the middle of July. We have a couple slots, but we have people that have already said, whatever slot is not full, let me know, I'm there. We've done a schedule out through August so far with volunteers. So that is fluid, but seems to be all set. We're planning to be open 8:30 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. So that's after the facility opens and before the facility closes. So there's plenty of time on either end. And we have three different time slots, 2.5, 2 and 2 hour slots for 3 people a day.
So they're not standing there for, I mean, I
Correct.
remember campaigning, having to stand there for.
Correct. So it's three volunteers per day.
Okay. And I noticed from your minutes that you've discussed with Clay the issues this summer, basically, and into the fall a bit. But in the wintertime, his staff has more time available to do things for you. So having the summer arranged is certainly,
Through August, and we'll
Positive.
continue this, right? And that rolls into signage, and part of the signage that we're planning to put up, I guess I have copies for each of you. Is with the open-close signage is right on the bottom, is actively seeking additional volunteers and help.
how big are these?
I'm not positive how big those are gonna be. Do we know that?
2 by 4,
2 foot by 4 foot?
maybe.
Maybe. Well, I'll write it down anyway.
It's 2 by 3 foot.
By 3. Okay. So visible. And
And the second page is the rules that have been reviewed and tweaked and reviewed again, of what's the rules, what's allowed and what's not allowed, and when it's gonna be open,
right.
or what happens when it is open. We have a separate signage. We took out the signage for
The schedule.
hours of operation. We're gonna keep that on a separate, similar sign, but we're gonna make it separate so it can change if we need to change it.
And I just want to point out that when it comes to items not accepted on this list, some of these are items that we are not allowed to accept by DES, right?
Correct.
Some of them are items that Primex has said we should not accept. And some of them are items that because of the size of our operation, it's impractical. All right, for instance, one of the things that we're putting is not accepted are large and bulky items. And the primary reason for that is because we got limited space. If we take a few big bulky items in, then the shop is full and you can't get anything else in. So that's stuff that has been,
And then that's the reason why we're not accepting encyclopedias. So we just kind of keep our voters uninformed.
That was considered bulky items that were pretty much useless this day and age.
Really?
Yeah.
well,
Do you still use yours aloud?
I don't have. I
yeah.
just remember when I was a kid, I read the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you would, I still have a set of encyclopedias at home. You know,
Well, you can't drop them off.
right, can't drop them off the swap
Right.
shop.
You can find somebody that wants them.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, they
Put
just
'em
go
on the
in,
board.
they just go in the compactor dumpster
Yeah,
when you're done.
Okay, stop talking about it, it's like killing cats.
Right.
Um,
Or herding cats.
Or
But
birding. So the other thing you were gonna do is develop some sort of swap list, is that still in the offing? I mean, I've
Oh,
got
we did
X
talk about
and-
that, and we're gonna put a board up, and we have, someone has donated a bulletin board
Okay.
to put items that you're not allowed, like encyclopedias, that you can put on the board for
Or-
contact,
or electrical appliances.
or electrical appliances, really geared to
Or
things that
anything
you
that's-
don't, that aren't allowed, but bulky items, you know, have a large hutch or a sofa or whatever, you can put it on the board. and see if, let somebody
Somebody's
contact
interested,
you. It
yeah.
takes the town out of the loop, gets them away from it.
And that's included on the brochure, correct?
Yes, and then we have brochures that we're going to be putting out. These will be located at places around town. On the backside, they have a schedule of fees for, so this is stuff that Clay already has,
That's our current fee schedule.
current fee schedule on the back. So it just goes over more items that aren't accepted. It's very similar to the signage that we have, but again, it does address the free cycle board. Just kind of talks more about general things, and if we want to change something, it's easy to do down the road, or add something, or change the fee schedule. And it's has a date on it, so we can.
Yeah, we can't change that fee schedule without a public.
Right. So, it's dated. So if it gets revised, it would get updated.
And this is gonna be available to hand out at the swap shop?
At the swap shop, at the town offices,
At the general
tables,
store.
the general store, wherever people might gather.
I'm just looking at it as a tool to sort of diffuse arguments that might
Yep.
show up.
The idea is to make it readily available.
We'll give some to you, Chip, and,
I'm good.
oh, you don't wanna just keep some in your truck and
Which 3 days?
And this phone number is the phone number to the transfer station.
Correct.
Okay. So all of the signage you're on board with?
Yes.
Okay. And are you, do you have standing?
I'm asking.
Okay, go ahead.
He had said 3 days before. It's open 4, but you're gonna be open 3.
Yes. Correct.
Which
That's our
days are
intention.
those?
We are intending to be open Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday.
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday,
not open
8:30 to 3. Not open Wednesday.
Wednesday, whenever I'm,
That
The transfer station's not open Thursday.
well, there, that settles that. Any other discussion? Public comment?
Okay, so we had a motion that was tabled last time, and I don't know how we untable it, other than, can I call the question?
Yes,
I guess that's one way to
Okay.
do it.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
And vis-à-vis the location, we're gonna allow Clay to determine that.
Yes.
Along with Phil
Yep.
and his team.
And
When are we due to open?
we would like to open on the 2nd of July,
A week from tomorrow.
a week from tomorrow,
Are
Tuesday.
we gonna have a container available by then?
We can put the container in place tomorrow.
Okay. So sometime.
So it'll be
between now-
available, the signs put up and,
Signs to put up and whatnot, and I don't expect there will be a flood of inventory on Tuesday, the 2nd.
My wife's been told.
That's what everybody says, but they're gonna come on Tuesday.
I see people sitting here in the room who I
Who will
think
make
have
sure
trucks
that
full
there
of
are
stuff
some
they're gonna
things
bring in
in
that
there.
Thursday. So personally, I'll make a plea, if you got stuff to bring to the swap shop, don't flood us on opening day. Let us get this thing going on
And
the.
maybe, just
Wait.
thinking out loud, where you have an issue where it was before with regard to traffic, of moving the clothing bins
yes,
and putting it a
a
little further,
little further that way.
a little further to the left.
That's fine.
Oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, so I don't know when our signage is gonna be ready, so that will hinge, obviously, we
Okay.
won't open without signage.
Yep.
So, and that is in process, and
Do
I'm not
they,
sure
do your
when I'm
people
gonna
get
see
these
it.
back,
So
or we just keep these on?
I
file?
believe you just keep those on file.
All right.
So
Okay,
my guess is that
um,
Bonnie's gonna be all over our friend on the signs here just as
Yes.
quickly as we can, right?
Yes. He said it would take about a week to be done.
Yeah.
But I think because Clay had already approved everything, that has been started. So it was just up to you guys to give the yes vote.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. Thank you, citizens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you.
Have a good summer.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
If you don't, we'll be.
Hello.
Right, thank you.
Phil, how
Yes.
many volunteers do you have now?
I think
I
there's
did-
14 right here.
Okay, and then I know there's another 4 that didn't sign, so there's 18. And we haven't really even advertised yet for volunteers.
Okay.
So we're at 18. Thank you.
Dispatch that. The next order of business is Tim Goodwin with the Wolfboro Community Television.
Good morning. Tim, how you doing?
Chip?
Chair, that's for you. Mr. Markison, that's for you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Philip, how are you?
I'm excellent. Well, thanks. I brought with me Brad Harriman, you know, as
I
a
know
selectman
you.
from Wolfboro.
Yeah.
But he also is a representative of our board of directors. And here at Wolfboro Community Television, Timothy Goodwin. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, not a department of the town, although we're very well supported by the town of Wolfboro. And my request of you is that, and then I'll go through all kinds of information here. My request is that if you're interested, that you might authorize me to communicate with Charter Spectrum, your cable provider, such that we can make something happen here in Tuftonboro. Ultimately, what I'm looking to do is to bring our education channel into all of the district towns of the school district. So that would be easy if all of the school district towns were Atlantic Broadband, which we have in Wolfboro. However, Charter Spectrum is in most of the towns of the district. And they've not really been great to work with at this point. And the last communication I had with them, I was hoping to be able to come to you with my proposal with some numbers. But they put a roadblock up that said, you need to talk to the selectmen in each of the towns first before you come to me. So my request would be that in order for me to give you numbers as to what it would cost to get what we're proposing to happen, I need to be able to communicate with them with your authorization. Right now, we provide 3 channels. Look at my hand scratchings here. In Wolfboro, we're a multimedia organization. We have a very small staff. I'm the only full-time person on staff, and I have several part-time people on staff. We could, in the process, well, what we provide right now is 3 channels. One is a bulletin board channel in Wolfboro. One is public and government. The cable companies are required by law to provide you as a town the opportunity for a PEG station, public education and government, in your town. So there should be a channel, and I'm sure that's probably what this gets broadcast on when it gets sent up to.
I don't think so. Right now, we're just going on YouTube.
Okay.
We don't take it to Conway anymore.
Oh, no, okay. Well, the cable company is supposed to be providing that opportunity for you. And the glitch, again, is of course getting across between the 2 different cable companies. We're primarily funded right now by the franchise fees that are provided. And again, that's what the cable company is required to collect those in order for this opportunity to be provided. We also have some underwriting. We can't do commercials. We can't do commercial television, but we can acknowledge donors and underwriters, help them with their branding, that kind of thing, and say thank you for your support of the local community television. Additional funding that we get, very minimal, but we sell DVDs of programs like the school concerts and things like that. Graduation is a big request right now that we recorded. One of the things we could provide, should we have the education channel in Tuftonboro, would be we broadcast the graduation live. And so the grandparents and shut-ins, or people that weren't feeling like they could get out of the house that day in Wolfboro, were able to watch graduation of their grandkids and children or friends on television in town.
New Durham was able to as well. We have the education channel in New Durham. New Durham is an Atlantic broadband company town. But that's it. You know, Ossipee, Tuftonboro, Brookfield, you folks that are all up this way are not able
On a
to
different cable system than you
see,
guys
yeah.
have, right?
And just with the board of directors and the fact that we're physically located in the high school building. And so we really feel a tie to the education part of public education and government. We do everything we can. We record the concerts. We don't broadcast very many things live. We do broadcast the Board of Selectmen meetings live. Graduation, I'll be doing the 4th of July parade live this year. And then there's one other parade that we do, I think it's the Christmas parade.
Probably, yeah.
That we offer. I think that's a live broadcast as well. Not a lot of things that we do live. But
So
we
it's-
have the capability of doing that.
So it's
and-
bulletin
and to
board,
provide it. So,
government, and education, are those the three channels?
bulletin board, public and government,
Okay,
and education.
so education's the third one.
Yeah, so there's one channel that we've dedicated just to educational things. When we don't have concerts or school board meetings to play, again, things that people in Tuftonboro will be very interested in, we will play local or nationally provided programming, like the National Science Foundation has some very good educational programming that we're allowed to broadcast. We broadcast the Massachusetts School of Law books of our time and things like that that are just very, very good educational general interest things that we can put up. But we're growing more and more. We're filling our things more and more with what's happening in the school on that channel, which is, I think, really an excellent thing. A very new program we started back at the beginning of this year. A sports talk show with Mike and the Haas, Mike Dene and Charlie Hossack, sit at a desk and give a report of what's happening with the school sports. And then they have some chatter about what's happening, with the Red Sox and the Bruins and things like that. Mike Dene is a resident of Tuftonboro. He can't watch his own show that he's, doing as he is part of the school district, but he can't see it on television. We do have and would be willing to offer, again, when I can get all our pricing and pieces together, I can bring those numbers to you, but I want to know that you're even interested and what boxes you'd like to be interested in. We have the capability of having a Roku channel or an Apple TV channel. When we broadcast for the town Board of Selectmen meetings, we do that on live stream. Again, so the internet piece is coming in, and we went from cassette tapes to CDs and, then the DVDs and Blu-ray, everything constantly changing and upgrading. That kind of thing is happening even with cable. Cable is still pretty much the way people are getting their television and, their media. Although the internet options are filling in really fast right now. Yes.
You provide something for Tuftonboro. Is there a cost to Spectrum or Tuftonboro?
So yes, what we would look for would be a fair, and it would depend again on what you would ask from us, but it would be a fair contribution from your franchise fees. We wouldn't necessarily look to get all of it. If you wanted to have us do a similar thing that what we do for Wolfboro, we would be more than happy to take on and keep his salary the same, the people that you have doing some things already, take them on as part-time staff of our organization. We're certainly not looking to hurt anybody in the process. We're looking to make things better for you. And I'd be happy to do that. The numbers, again, I don't know where to start, to be honest, because I don't have information. The setup will be the most expensive part of all of it, and then the ongoing piece would be more of this is just fair, I gotta pay the staff. We are a nonprofit organization. Mr. Harriman will tell you we don't have huge coffers. We can't even purchase, some of the equipment that we need, to keep up with technology now. The 1080 has gone to 4K and now 8K TVs are out, you know. Nobody needs that. We certainly don't need that, but
So you're not, you wouldn't work the same way that we're currently working. In other words, Joe makes a recording here of our meeting and then provides it to you.
he would, I would be
Or
very
we'd have
fine
to
with that.
use your equipment.
No, that certainly could continue. The piece that I'm concerned about is getting the feed to Spectrum, the broadcast server itself and the transmitters. That would be the bigger piece. This would be ideal if Joe continued to be your guy and either brought it to us or uploaded. We have cloud servers he can upload. He doesn't even have to leave town. That file to our cloud server and we can play it out on your channel.
A concern that I have, in the town of Tuftonboro, there's a significant portion of the town that does not have cable. For a rural town, cable just doesn't run to a lot of places, and the population density is low enough that they're not going to put it in. So the way that we have that I'm aware of for those who don't have the cable system to get their information is over the internet. The
So
meeting, the
we
meetings,
have that
the meetings
capability.
that Joe records are, we put up on the internet, I think exclusively anymore because of the difficulty trying to get it into the Spectrum portal. Used to be a office in Conway you dropped it off at, and maybe the office is still there, but nobody's ever there, the door's always locked or some such thing. Anyway, Joe could give you a chapter and verse on the difficulty we've had interfacing with them. So the educational content that you're talking about getting into all of the communities, I'm certainly very interested in whatever we do, making it available to as much of the population as we can, which means it's got to be on the internet. I don't know the nuts and bolts of what it takes to get from the content that's there into how we get it linked up through the town site. Although I think Karen has talked with our providers a little bit, and it's fairly straightforward to get there, right? There's
Yeah, it's,
there's people that
it's
can
not,
do that.
it's not difficult,
Right.
right? And
So-
I certainly can help in that setup process, again, if you're on board.
The other element is, I mean, our franchise agreement ends in '22, I think it is. So we're currently in the process of reviewing all of that. Although, as Brad can tell you, as a selectman, we have very little input as to what the cable companies will do for us, thanks to federal legislation. But we can certainly make it a point of saying, we want to have a public access channel through Wolfboro Community Television and see what they
Right.
say. Once again, we need to know, how is it going to impact? Are you paying through the franchise fee that you're getting? Is that how that works?
That's what we do now at Wolfboro. Franchise fee, they prepare a budget for what they need for the community TV to operate, and
Right.
Wolfboro assigns that to them to operate with us, and that money all comes out of the franchise fees
Yeah.
that we
Because
collect.
currently, I think our franchise fee just goes into the general fund.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'd have to look at budgeting, so it doesn't
Yeah.
happen
I
this year.
had one question. Obviously, you network with your contemporaries throughout the state. Is there an example where a neighboring community or somewhere else has accomplished this?
Yes.
And then we can piggyback on their successes and not invent the wheel?
The answer is yes. Atlantic Broadband has a link between Atlantic Broadband and TDS in the town of Farmington, where the public access provider, that's the most local one, is able to go from one cable provider into another because they have multiple cable providers in their town, and they're able to accomplish that. The town of New Durham is a different story altogether. It was going to be from Atlantic Broadband to TDS again. was willing to do that, but other things came up, and our relationship with the town of New Durham changed a little bit. So right now, and it was all happening at the time MetroCast was selling to Atlantic Broadband.
Okay.
So we need to go back in kind of through a whole bunch of channels to try to get that reconnection to happen for us in the town of New Durham, because they also have TDS in that town. And then if you go to bigger cities, if you even go online and look, try to think Wilmington, Mass, places like that, they'll list on, Comcast, we're on channel 23, on TBS, we're on channel 29, on, Atlantic Broadband, we're on channel 27, that kind of thing. You'll see that they're able to get their signal into all of the different providers. But as far as going from one to another, and I do have, let me state this too, the guys at Atlantic Broadband are very cooperative in working with me, and they're actually, their engineers were on vacation last week when I sent this, or 2 weeks ago, when I sent this out, and weren't going to be back until this week. And they are going to put together for me a package of information from their perspective, what it would cost to make the hop over. I have again, I've taken more of your time than I intended to, but I knew there'd be questions. I do have a concept that could work as well, where we could, through internet, if we were to set up a similar broadcast station here at your town hall or somewhere in Tuftonboro that has access to the fibers that go to Charter Spectrum, we could set up a station effectively that's remotely controlled, and we wouldn't need to have it manned locally. Should there need to be somebody to come and basically put in with your IT, if you have some kind of a server or something here at Town Hall, it could be put into a rack right there with your Town Hall servers, and be able to make the connection from there. We could control that, put the information, the programs into it. In fact, Mr. K here could as well, upload directly to that rather than even sending it to us to send it out.
Then it all remains on the
And
internet,
it all stays here in Tuftonboro.
but it's only on the internet at that point.
Well, no, the broadcast server itself would go to Spectrum. And we could put your broadcaster, your internet broadcaster right here as well. You'd have a live stream box or something like that, that would go right here. So again, you could have an internet channel, yes.
So I think this is my final question.
Okay,
I think, have you talked with the school district?
yes.
Because the educational programming into all these communities, I would think, would be recognized as a priority by the school district. I mean, each community, you
Yeah.
have to get the town government on board, but the district as a whole it would seem to me, has a vested interest in doing what they can to support and extend all the educational programming to all the students in the district.
So I had a similar, it was a very positive experience, but similar to the connection with Charter Spectrum. And my approach to the school board is to go and find out what it would be to make that happen, and then come back to us and let us know that you were able to do it. They were excited about knowing it could go into, I didn't go to the school board, I went just to the superintendent. So you don't have a recording of me making a presentation like this to the school board. But they were very interested. They just were like, it's not anything that they had any control over, from
Yeah.
their perspective.
Yeah.
They were like, of course we'd like to be in the communities that our schools are involved in.
But, and I guess I'm thinking from a funding perspective, okay, there certainly, in my mind, is a connection between the educational channel and the school district. There's some costs there, and as you know, all these communities pay a lot of money into the school budget, and that may very well be a proper place for this particular piece of
So
cost.
effectively, you're already helping to pay for that. The school has us, they've given us 2 studios, an office space and
Right.
some storage space. So
Right.
you're paying for us to be in the school building and you're getting nothing for it.
Right, right, and so as we look to expand
Right.
the distribution of this educational channel throughout the district, maybe some of that additional cost goes right to the school district. And we all benefit from it, and we all pay for it. Just a thought in
All right,
terms of.
without voting, I guess we can let Wolfboro know that we're
Full speed ahead.
interested. I mean, do you
So
need
what
something?
What do you need,
Can I get
what
a-
do you need from us?
Can I have a letter that just, and let me explain why I'm pushing the cable piece so much, because again, when it comes to the funding, which of course is the driving force for it to happen at all, I need to have permission from you, so if I could have that in writing, to communicate with Spectrum, Charter, whatever they are, it says that I'm representing, I'm not gonna, certainly not gonna make any decisions or say, but enough that says I represent the Tufton Borough, or have permission from the Tufton Borough Board of Selectmen to pursue what it would take to set up a system here. And my reason is because you get your, again, the purpose of the franchise fees and, the way that Wolfboro does it is spot on. That they're supposed to be providing that service for you. So in order for you to be able to free up those funds to us, I'm thinking that we would want to go through, we could do it just internet and not even address the and I can give you a price for that in another month or so, if you wanted, without any hesitation.
So it's on the record and it's legal and it adds weight. Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we send a letter giving permission and directing Tim Goodwin, representing Wolfboro Community Television, to work on this project for us.
Are we all in agreement?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll get a letter out to you this week
Thank you.
describing what we understand you might do for us.
Karen, could
With the
you,
condition that you can come back and tell us how much it's gonna cost.
Absolutely, I certainly won't be making any decisions without running to you.
Karen, could you work with him to make sure that the bullet points that he needs to do his job? Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
on
you.
your education channel, if you teach civics, it would certainly help the world out a lot more than sports, from my perspective.
Well, whatever we can get into, we'll put it up there. Whatever, you want to have a civics class, come and do it. If we get you in, you could have your own show.
Yeah, I think Glenn Cordelli would have a problem with that.
Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Before you leave, can I change the
Thanks,
subject?
Sure.
Thank you for working with us on Sawyer Road in your other.
You driven down there?
So, yes.
It's a boulevard.
It is, very nice now. So I was gonna say thank you to you guys for,
It's been a work in progress,
It
right?
has been, yeah.
We would talk about it as you ride to TAC
Thank you.
meetings.
Good to see you.
We didn't want it to look
Thank
like
you.
a miracle.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, I know it's not public input. but I'd
Sure,
like to
go ahead.
Put my input. Now, I've talked with Tim before about this a while back. You've just taken on a monumental thing by saying, well, I'll go talk to Spectrum. God bless you and
Thank you.
good luck.
No,
Because you're gonna need it, number one.
Yes.
Number two, in the contract, we are provided a PEG access channel, which we don't have access to anymore. In the contract, they provide 3 different points in town where we could literally put that stuff on TV. I'm just throwing these points out. Furthermore, all these selectmen's meetings are now on YouTube, on the internet. If I go to the Wolfboro Community TV webpage, can I get 90% of the stuff that you program or show on my computer at home?
So I would say a good 80% of what we do in-house, you can get to through our website, yes, which is also a YouTube channel. And we have sub-YouTube channels now. They have a new system with YouTube. So if you go to our home YouTube page, you'll see Mike and the Haas has their own channel. The Selectmen are still in a playlist on our main page. We have next week in Wolfboro, a couple of kids read what's happening next week kind of thing. And we can, again, all of these kind of things we could add in up here as it grows and as interest grows in town.
Well, I'm just trying to cut everything down, so
All
if
of
we
that.
had an actual PEG access channel up in Conway, okay, and you could turn around and link to it, people could turn on the TV and watch what's going on.
Yes.
At very minimal cost to us. You showed me a product way back when, over a year ago, okay, it was like $600 or whatever, okay? At the time, the president selectman, okay, I said that wasn't gonna happen because we're still dealing internally with our own problems with Spectrum. They refuse to answer, refuse to show up. You're going to introduce a new idea. I like to take the old ideas or the stuff that we already have in the contract and have them serve us for what they already owe us before we get into a new venture. I'm not disappointed.
Let's do this.
Effectively, that's what I'm asking for.
Let's do this.
is
Let's
that you
provide
have
Tim
that.
with a copy of our current franchise
That
agreement.
would be
And
helpful.
if there's some avenue in there that you can
Okay.
operate within, then that,
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
we'll do that.
All right,
I can email that too.
thank you very
Yeah, no
much.
problem.
All right.
Thanks
See you
again.
again.
We'll have to go high five or shit.
So, thank you.
Good to see you, Joe. Thanks.
It's a nice little studio. You seen it?
Yeah, not recently, but I saw it a while ago.
All right.
I'll go get Andy, I guess.
Okay. We'll wait. Our next order of business is the chief
Yep.
of police. So while, I guess we have Karen here to take notes.
Yep.
It's all right, you're on tape. Go ahead.
Am I on tape?
Oh, you absolutely are.
Really?
In fact, I'll enlarge
I'd
the
like
screen.
to have authorization to sign these volunteer.
Yep.
So
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
It's come together nicely.
give me something to do.
There you go. Use the time productively.
With some real experience with graphics, it stands out.
Mhm.
Nice job.
Mhm.
Yeah, we just.
You know Peter Piedmont.
Yes.
He retired how many years
I
ago?
don't know, but yeah, he was certainly the face of
Yeah.
that operation for a long, long time.
Yep. I still see his Volkswagen in there, the only car in the parking lot.
Yep.
It's-
Yep.
It's a special reserve spot.
Yes.
Yep.
I think he's 80 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to look at the flood map to see.
I can remember before I started working there 20 years ago, the alumni used to play the faculty in basketball. And he was, over 50 and still playing basketball.
Peter?
Yep.
See if I can tell if they're kind of hired people, if they're not specific in this area.
You can send Tim the electronic copy of that.
Of the franchise, yep.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
In your absence, we made a vote that I would sign these
Yeah,
Okay.
volunteer appointments.
I can look it up.
And who moved and who seconded?
I think Lloyd moved and I seconded.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Heather Kubu, geez, we got all these town officials.
Is Linda Parsons on that list? She said she was at volunteer. Jack's mom. She's there.
Right,
Right there.
yeah. Oh, it's right, yeah.
Okay.
Good morning.
More chief. Okay, these are.
Can I just watch that paperwork too? I'll make copies of it and give it back to you.
This?
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah, have
you
copies
can
of it.
have it.
Well, look at that.
'Cause I'll
Thank you.
just- I won't know what to do with it. That's all you do.
Andy.
Next order of business is the police department update from the chief. Chief Andrew Shigori.
So we've had pretty much activities about the same as last year. We've got the radar sign is posted.
Yeah,
put up.
caught me coming down the hill this morning. I was doing 37 miles an hour.
A lot of positive comments, nice job.
Would you rate it, something, I don't know, 37 and a 37?
We let that go. It's within the variance
Well,
of
I
$1
had-
dollar.
I had no idea the sign was there.
Oh, so that makes all the difference. If we know somebody's watching, right, then it's, well.
We've
but that's
got
all
3 posts up for it. One's on Ledge Hill, obviously.
Yeah.
One's on Union Wharf and one's on Sodom. Tried to put them in places that we could pull over without being in the road to put the signs up. But that particular one is approaching the school. The one on Sodom is approaching the first corner there. Union Wharf is on the straightaway near Chief Thompson's house before you get into like the S turns there.
Does it record who and what?
It records the speeds, it doesn't record who. So I don't have your picture or.
Well, no, I don't mind that. But I was thinking if you put one by Ann Hackle's driveway, you'd find them doing about 70 down through there. So.
And, right, I would need more posts and I probably need more mounts if it works out. The only thing, I want to make sure it's not blocking somebody's view coming out of their driveway either, and that it's someplace that we can pull over easily and put it up without being in the road and hazard for ourselves. But it's up and we've got those 3 spots so far. Obviously, the trailer's up and running. I'm gonna move that one of these days. I put in for the grant, as you know, for
I
the,
do have a request on the trailer.
Yes.
Where you have a park now, if you could move it about maybe another 10 feet away from the driveway. The area between where the sign is and the fire department driveway is where people park to go to the post office. So where it is now, it's kind of a crowd to get into that parking place. If there's, unless there's some reason that it couldn't be a little further up the road. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I
Just
understand.
back up a little bit.
I'll have to, I'll take a look at it, but I'll move it someplace else anyway.
Yep, yep, just for next time.
Yep, next time. So the grant for the radio reprogram, obviously I submitted that. There's another grant I put in for our body armor that we have to replace this year. I haven't heard anything back on that, the deadline.
Didn't we have a budget item for that?
Yes, but this will give us 50% back if we get it. So instead of
We don't
paying,
want that.
like, well, I think the most you can do is, yeah, it could give us about $1,500 back on the body armor, about half of it. There's been a question, I don't know if Karen brought it to you, about how many parking permits people can get. If they're down at the,
Oh, I didn't hear back from him, so I didn't end up giving it to them. We had
Okay.
someone that requested more than
Same
4, but,
request we had last year, somebody wants more
like,
than.
more than the 4 or 5 that we allow.
and he didn't call me back, so I left it be.
Okay, so that's, what that is, it's something for you to ponder and think about.
Well, they should carpool, shouldn't
No.
they? I mean, global warming and all that.
Another thing, obviously, we've been checking up on Brown Road. The sign has changed a few times. There was a sign put up last weekend saying, carry on boats only.
Again?
No, that was done last Saturday, a week ago, Saturday. Tuesday, that was gone. Monday, I saw it there. Tuesday, it was gone. There was, we didn't hear anything from the Steinmans. It was Friday. The Steinmans reported it stolen. Apparently, when they came up, maybe they saw it was gone. Anyway, that's when they reported it stolen. So it hadn't been them that took it down.
Well, you might mention to them that they don't get to put signs up. So if it's stolen, maybe if they didn't put the sign up in the first place, they wouldn't have to worry about it being stolen.
Yeah. one of the comments she made though to the officer was that, and this kind of goes maybe towards where this is all about, is she they didn't want big boats on that pond, lake. But we're like, we've never really seen that, about the one I know of is maybe Camp William Lawrence. I know there's some water skiing there sometimes, but there's really
Can't
no.
launch a big boat there.
Exactly.
It's a
Right.
big rock
Right.
in the middle of the river.
So,
And, unfortunately for them, the people that live around the lake don't get to specify
right,
what size and type of boats operate on the lake.
right,
Great ponds that belong to the state.
it's regulated by the state.
They're regulated by the state, and there are some ponds that don't allow for, fast boats, but,
4 horsepower.
Lower Beach Pond is not one of them.
Right, that'd have to be something that at the state level to deal with, but
Right.
That location is self-limiting anyway.
that's kind of what she was told by the officer. It's kind of like, nobody's launching big boats there, and nor have we seen that many big boats out on the lake, but I can't remember seeing anybody launch any big boats there in 20 years, so.
Well, as shallow as it is there, you really couldn't get one in anyway.
And I think we've only seen like 1 or 2 cars any time that we've gone by there over the last couple weeks.
Anything on Lang Pond, you've been going down that way?
There was one hot day a couple weeks ago where there were a few cars right by the beach swimming area there, but there hasn't been anybody speeding. Most of the time I don't even see a car. There's one day I saw like 3 cars come across the road.
I see more pedestrians walking than cars.
Yeah, there's more pedestrians than anything. If they're parked, that's a lot of times I see people walking. There was a trailer parked out there one day on the road. Yeah, just a flatbed, big flatbed. It was gone before it was dark, and I tried calling the owner. They never returned my call, but they disappeared shortly thereafter. So it was there, and there's one on Lamprey too. They must have been doing a work job around somewhere and thought it was a convenient places to leave them. But I mean, they were in straightaways. They weren't. It was daytime, so people could see them, but still it was.
Well, on a narrow road like that, parking a trailer in the road.
Yeah, we're talking like a 30,000-pound flatbed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, somehow it magically moved.
It got moved before it was dark, because otherwise I was gonna have to deal with that. But
So how's our cadet doing?
yeah, she's doing good.
Okay, when does she get out?
End of August.
Oh, so we got a couple more months.
Oh yeah. She's I think there's 10 more weeks. She's gone through 6 weeks. I think it's going good.
And the rest of the squad, everybody working okay?
Seemed to be.
How are we doing on signs? For example, at the boat launch area in Mirror Lake, is there any confusion with parking there?
Well, the sign, it doesn't match up what the ordinance says, and I think I talked to Jim about that at one point, that we're gonna have to see about maybe changing that. Because the sign there says, I can't remember, it conflicts with what was passed in the ordinance. The ordinance says no parking, and then that says parking to some degree or
Is that
something.
a town sign or was that privately put up?
I think that was a town sign put up, I believe. I think it says priority Selectmen on it. I'll have to check it. The confusing part with that there is, though, that if somebody parks in the road right away, 109 right away, that's not for us to regulate.
That's right, that's
So it's-
the state, right?
So that's the state part, so somebody could park in that section. But we had the question about parking along the ramp itself, where we put the mulch in and fix it up, and that was the issue for the parking there.
So, with respect to parking, when we made our visit down to Union Wharf
Yes,
with the joint loss management inspection, I seem to remember we were gonna put new signs up on the wharf with respect to the boat parking, and I didn't see those at this point. I mean, we have-
saying 10 to 6 instead of
we have, there are 2 things, I think. One is, in our ordinance, we specified an amount of time that somebody could be there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we specified the hours at night when nobody could be parked there.
Yeah, I saw the hours there, but it was seemed to be off a little bit.
It was off by
Well,
1 hour.
th-
Off
there-
by an hour.
There were,
So-
but there are conflicting signs up
Okay,
that I think have been there for a long time, so.
I'll talk to Jim about
Yeah,
getting that
so we need to
straightened
get all the old ones down and get consistent signs
Okay.
up so that people know what's supposed to be.
Could you also work with Jim, as you come out of the beach area, there's a no parking sign that's missing along Beach Road,
Okay.
and cars and trailers been parking there. And the other thing is 19 Mile Bay parking lot. There's the yellow sign,
Yes,
and then it talks about no parking
yes.
10 to 6, and there's been a private sign that's been attached at a right angle
Is it going to
that
the?
says trailhead parking.
It's very high.
I didn't notice that.
It- Is that a right
Okay, I'll take a
angle?
look at it and see what we can do about that.
The reason
Is that for the snowmobile trail?
If you go to
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
If it is, but I don't remember granting
Is it-
permission for that sign to be put up there. But-
I'll take a look at it
And I bring these things up only because I want your guys to have an
yeah.
opportunity to, I don't want to use the word enforce the law, but, you know, you need the tools.
I'm pretty sure that, I thought there might be I'll check on it.
And I want to shift gears. How are we doing on the computer updates for the cruisers?
Because,
Is that a
I
work
did,
in progress?
it's a work in progress. I did talk to Tom, having a few issues, so I contacted him the other day, about the updates in the office and some other issues going on. So, I can hear back from him on that.
Are we going to have enough funds, you think, in the budget to accomplish this?
I believe so. I believe we set it up so we would. It won't, we did talk about, when we did it, that it would be kind of, rather than revisit all the lines, there was enough in a few lines so we could move stuff around to make it. We added some to, but we didn't want to revote every line in the
Right.
budget, so. there was enough to
I
do
would
it.
just say that where we spend the money, we ought to
Again,
not try and match it up to where the money is, but put
I'll put it-
put the expense where it should be, as long as we have money in another line to cover it,
absolutely,
that's fine.
that's my plan.
Yeah.
But I did reach out to Tom the other day because of another issue that was going on. There were several issues going on, but one of those I reminded him, I've actually talked to him a couple times about it.
Is there anything the Board of Selectmen can do to assist you?
No, I just need to make sure I stay on top of, make sure Tom's on track it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Another, is there money in the budget to have the idle police cruiser's body be touched up?
I will see.
And is there money to do preventive undercoating?
I will have to see on that, I don't know.
If I could, also, parking at times is a premium at the town offices. Can we make arrangements for an alternate parking location for that cruiser? Could you think about that, please?
I'll think about it.
Yeah, I don't know about off-site parking in cruisers, that's probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, vandalism, I remember being,
I have a couple thoughts and Andy can get back to me. It's just that
Les Jim's got some
parking is
space
a
at the
premium.
town garage, but
Snow ordinance, would it be appropriate sometime to have a mini work session with the police chief and everything so we can get that off the table? Thank you.
yeah, that's appropriate, absolutely. And do we have signage at 20 Mile Bay?
Kind of
Or
signage.
who puts up the rope, do you know, Lloyd?
I think that's a private,
It's a private, isn't it, the Abenaki
Yes.
Gates, whatever it is, the
Okay.
Shirley Way.
yes.
Walkers put it up.
So that's just a beach by occurrence?
Yes.
It's
not a public.
some sort of an agreement with the state that they have,
Yeah.
going way back, so.
Right, so we
Yeah.
have,
It's not our thing, we just put we have the no parking signs along there that the state put up.
Yep.
That long ago the selectmen voted on doing, I guess, so.
Yep.
And I just had them replace them with signs, newer signs that will clear it.
okay, great, thanks for coming in, keep up the good work.
Happy summer.
All right, next appointment is with Adam Thompson, is he coming in? Oh, there he is.
No, he's not, he's already here.
My God.
He's hiding back.
Chief Thompson, I'm glad to see you're volunteering for the swap shop. Make sure to wear your uniform.
We're gonna get uniforms?
No.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
did it pass?
Yes.
Nice job.
Subject to completion.
Signs.
Currently, we've had 84 fire calls, 132 EMS calls, 27 service calls, 3 special details for a total of 246. For the year, 26 gas furnace inspections, 3 oil burner inspections, 4 wood stove / pellet stove inspections, 14 life safeties, for a total of 47. And while Chief Shigori is here, I just want to thank him for giving me a heads up on Friday in reference to the interoperability radio grant thing. I was
You all signed up on that now?
I was going to blow that off totally because it didn't seem to be something that was 100% important. I didn't read the third page. It said that we wouldn't be eligible for further grant money down the road as far as that goes. So spent 5 hours on Friday collecting all the radio information. We're all situated with that, so that's all set. And thank you for letting Lloyd sign off on it.
Yeah, so it may not get us any money now, but it will at least not prevent us from getting any
Hit it in
money
the
in the
future.
future.
It will get us money as far as the interoperability, as far as reprogramming the radios, because they will do that. It's just a catch-22 as far as not allowing you in the future if you didn't do it. They've got you one way or another with that, so. But it's all situated for that. On April 29th, 3 members of the Fire Rescue Department took part in the bleeding control and first aid training put on by Tree Medical, which Tufton Borough Police Department had hosted at our fire station. Myself, Captain Pike, and paramedics Galvin took part in that. It was great working with the 4 members of our department and other members of police departments in the area and throughout the county. On 5/2, the department completed a harassment in the workplace training. We had all of our members there besides 3, and the police department also took part in that class, and that was done by Primex. A 2-day training was completed by myself and Skip Galvin at New Hampshire Fire Academy on 5/20 and 5/21 on over-the-road cargo tank emergencies. That was a very informative class. We did bike safety on 5/31, and the staff and volunteers from the school, Tufton Borough Police Department and Fire Department made sure that everyone made it back to the school safely. There was a few more incidences in this year than in the past as far as kids going down on their bikes and things like that, but everyone made it back safely. So, on 6/9 to 6/11, Captain Pike and Assistant Chief Kyle Joseph traveled to Toyne Fire Apparatus in Breed, Iowa for the final inspection on Engine 2. The truck is now in New Hampshire. It's at Easton Fire Apparatus for some minor changes that are going to be done before delivery, and it'll be delivered on Wednesday. And that's the truck.
For the television.
Yep.
The new aluminum bed was placed on Utility 1, and once we get all the bills in, I will contact Karen for a public hearing for that. We just need to know the final cost on that, and
That's what that looks like.
So it's a whole new bed?
A whole new bed. Everything that's in it is from the other truck as far as it goes, but the back bed is.
Yeah. And as I remember, that was a standard pickup bed on
Yes,
the
it
back
was.
before, right? With
Yep.
stuff mounted up on top?
Yep.
So,
It wasn't conducive as far as for shorter people to operate, and your back really took a beating trying to get things up out of the back of the truck from the way they were set up. So it's very user friendly now. That's what we're
Merry Christmas.
yeah.
And where that cost over $5,000, we obviously had to have that hearing. The testing at all 3 stations on the water has been completed. There were no PFOAs, PFNAs, or PFOS at any of them. And if anyone wants to see the tests, I have all 3 of those, so we're in good shape with that. We've once again been having issues with the central station furnaces. ENE Systems of Bow has completed the controls update for the summer. Sam Mechanical completed the spring PMI, that should have been PMI. And we'll be back to replace the sensor on furnace 2. That should be sometime this week. We've begun the inspections on the children's camps. We currently completed Camp Sentinel, Donat, William Lawrence, and Mara Vista, and the remaining camps will be completed probably this week before the campers start to come in for the summer. Do you have anything further?
Well, just as an aside, while Gordon is here as well, as the library builds a new building, I hope that whatever is used in heating systems will not include any of the components that went into the system that you have, that we've had problems with year after year after year. Control here, this there, air makeup thing here. It's the station, it seems to me, has performed very well, but that thing has been a nagging, ongoing.
Yeah, the boilers, the elite boilers have not been anything but elite as far as it goes. As far as the controls, we're getting them simpler each time that they come and do updates and things like that. We finally got, the last time they were here, they finally were able to put the controller that is in the main entryway. That's going to control the whole office side, so that won't be, so broken up. You can still adjust some of the heat from the individual controllers, but that should make things a little bit more even as far as heating and cooling.
If I remember correctly, when they put that system in, part of the focus was on getting the highest efficiency system you can. And we've seen in the past that some of the latest technology stuff, the latest and greatest, it does great in the DOE tests and all this sort of thing, but the reliability and the user friendliness of that stuff leaves something to be desired. So it's kind of like, if we can take half a generation back in terms of the step and get something that's
Our
tried and true.
system will be considerably less involved than the fire station.
Kids,
It's a small project, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's, I guess my only point is, we know something we've had trouble with, let's not say we're gonna do the same thing again
Right.
and expect a different result, so, no, that's,
Any questions for the chief?
no.
no.
Happy summer.
A wonderful day.
Our next item of business is Parks and Rec with Dennis Limbo.
I'll get him, upstairs.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Good, Lloyd, how are you?
What's new and exciting?
Work.
Are you here for a public session?
No, I just wanted to spend a minute talking.
Excuse me, I didn't want to, he's the chairman, have to go through
Sorry.
him. So. Can we take Mike out of turn here if he wants to speak briefly?
Well, if Dennis is right here, might as well, we're paying him. Is Dennis coming in?
Yes, he's upstairs in his office.
Right.
Well, there he is.
Keep the workers working.
Good audience. It's Mr.
How's
April
everyone
Fools.
doing? How are you?
It's Mr. April Fools.
Huh? Oh, no. I was gonna do something else, but my wife says stop it. How's
Morning,
everyone?
Dennis.
Good.
All right. Parks and Rec update.
Is that what you want?
That's what we're after.
You got me following the police chief, fire chief, wow.
Get
All
your-
all the heavy hitters, sir.
Wound up,
You're
slap
number
static,
three.
everything, huh? Well, I'm starting my 4th month pretty soon. Start of July, you know, I started on the 1st, you know that. But I gotta, I just gotta compliment the people here, working here. It's been, made a lot easier. This girl here, Karen, has been outstanding. She's helped me in a lot of different ways.
We'll have to talk to her.
Yeah, she's walked me through a lot of things, but I appreciate that. It's nice coming to a place and kind of getting a feel for the town and how things operate. And it's been good. But in the 4 months, of course, we've had the Easter egg hunt. We've had a sold-out CPR class with the fire department. We had a successful yard sale, 32 families. And we also did a cooperative thing with the Wolfboro Recreation, a walk bike to school, and we did the refreshments and stuff. So it was good to work with them. We're really gearing up, I think, for the summer. The weather's beautiful. Summer's officially here. And Saturday we kick off with the 19-mile last day to sign up for swim lessons and swim team. It's our kickoff. We've got cookout and crafts and music and stuff like that. So our lifeguards will be there. So we look
So you're
forward
gonna
to
have
that.
food on Saturday?
Yeah, just hot dogs. No
Tube
veggie,
steaks.
no veggie burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what time is that?
That's 11 to 1. You know, we're hoping to get more than on our swim team this year. We only had 11. We're Tuck and Road Torpedoes. And they practice 4 days a week. And they come on Fridays. They go to the meet, the competition. So the other thing down on the lake is starting that same week is our Lake Coast program. We're both 19 Mile and Melbourne. We're going to be staffing with 2 paid people through a grant and then a couple volunteers. So we'll get that going. And we do have a couple maintenance projects. That Butterfly Garden is going to take place once school lets up. We got a guy on that.
That's the one at the school.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a mulch area and then kind of a stone dust area, but it's all kind of overgrown a little bit now, so I'm gonna take care of that, make it look good. But we put up a new swing, fixed the bulletin board, fixed the table out there, did some renovations to the shed down at the beach, made it more of an office, got a refrigerator there, so when we have the concerts and the cookouts, we'll have a fridge right there, which is good.
Cold beer.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. And the concerts start July 11th through August 8th. We've got 5 dates, 5 musical acts. I went to see one of them, the Callan Ramsey band up at the Freiburg. They had a home show, a garden show, and she's pretty good. She's good. So, you know, grab your blanket, your lawn chair, come on down. Don't cook supper that night because I'm on the grill, so make sure you attend those. They're right on the beach, so it's a great night. National Night Out is with the police. We'll be doing that on August 6th. Of course, I'm excited for the 23rd through the 25th of August. That's our Old Home Days program, which goes 3 days. We've got some new events this year. I'm excited to just kind of take part in everything. We're running the 5K walk road race. We got a meeting, I think tomorrow night. You know, just quickly, on the 23rd, there's a barbecue chicken dinner. There's a juggler coming in at 7 o'clock right after the dinner. On Saturday, of course, the road race, the walk. And then after that, it's a combination. There's a market day and then there's a yard basement sale. This town likes the yard sales there, so they got 2 of those things going. They have an antique car show, 10 to 12. something I'm pretty excited for, the cardboard boat race. They say that's quite a, they were saying.
Have you ever seen it before?
No, but they were saying last year, there's a gang, like 12 of them got in the boat from the island, and
Like a work canoe.
they have like a theme every year, I guess. It was the Vikings or something, but then they sank going back or something. That's amazing, yeah. That should
Even
be
the
a fun
fire
day.
department made one, a replica of their boat that's the size of this
So,
table. So it's
They
been,
must work all year, right?
it's been preserved.
Oh, that should be fun.
It's good for morale.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lasagna dinner that Saturday night, and then the Audubon Society has a program right after that. On Sunday, of course, there's a nature walk / scavenger hunt, and then the town picnic from 1 to 3. So that wraps up the summer. Just in closing, our commission has been meeting. We still calling out area people that are interested in parks, recreation programs for adults, kids. It's not heavy lifting. Chip, you've been there, and we just had a new chairman. Gina was fantastic, but she's getting on with her life, and we got Brandon Whittier as our new chairman. So we do need some other committee members, and if anybody
So
out
we're
there.
looking for volunteers to join the Parks and Rec Commission.
Yes, we are, absolutely, absolutely. So again, the first summer concert is July 11th, Granite Planet. You guys go to those?
Sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That's about it. Again, I enjoyed my 3 months here so far. And, got my penthouse upstairs. You guys have been generous enough to get us.
Got your
some
own
new
phone?
equipment. The what?
You got a phone now?
I got everything, yeah. Awesome.
So how are the hours working out for you?
Good, I'm trying to save based on the budget and what's allowed. I've been trying to work like 15 hours a week. And we figured out with Diane that should come around to that salary figure.
Yep.
But I'm trying to save them because I want to be more active, obviously, in the summer. We had a lifeguard training here last week with our lifeguards, and basically just told them, I said, you're in the spotlight. People are going to be watching you. Just like, if you go to a restaurant, there's a bad waitress, you kind of keep an eye. I said, so, the big thing is safety. We don't want you on your cell phones, talking to your boyfriend, in your car. And I want to be on the scene a lot more.
I know you and I've talked about it. They all have been introduced to the appropriate public safety officials so they know that reporting something immediately.
Yeah.
You're not getting anyone in trouble.
Yeah, in fact, I think they
know
did a
the
test
number.
last week down there, the signs up down there. And we're clear. Everything's great.
Well, thank you for what you've done.
Yeah.
Great, I think
Any
we're
other
all set, and we'll have you in again next month.
All right,
So-
look forward to it. Yeah.
Thanks,
Did I say
Dennis.
that right, Ken?
What's
About
that?
you?
That was very nice. You took some
Good one.
mail.
Memorized it.
Yeah.
Don't just.
Thank you.
Oh, how did I didn't see you there?
Nice.
Your dad's here.
You'll get it one of these days.
Mine relates to
Okay, go
Parks and
ahead.
Rec. I've just come from the Libby, and first of all, thank you very much for letting us use the Libby Woods with our kids. They're all there now. We've got a crew of 12 kids doing wilderness skills, including on the Libby Park. When I walked the Libby Park this morning, though, I noticed that somebody had cut brush and put it across the whole path along the way. And I haven't been in there for about 6 weeks, so I did want to alert the selectmen that somebody's cutting and blocking what is public land.
So the brush was cut on the Libby Park or brought in?
Some of it would have been cut on the Libby Park, and some of it, but it's obstructive to the kids can just push it aside and get along the path as they had planned to, but I do think it's a growing urgency that a boundary line fence be put that makes it clear where the public land is versus the private landowner. And if you go down there, you'll see that it now looks like part of its private driveway.
Okay. I think the best route would be to have you keep in touch with Dennis.
Okay.
Vis-a-vis a fence, if he wants to present a fence in his budget. that would be fine.
Yeah, might require a boundary survey, which obviously needs a little more money, sorry. Because I'm not sure that one has been surveyed in the recent past. And in fact, no, it hasn't been.
Okay.
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 Have a great summer.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
that's,
polar bear is safe.
yeah, come see.
Lots going on.
All right, our next appointment is exactly on time at 10:30 with Gordon Hunt, our
Just tell them you can wait, I'm in no hurry.
I only have a few minutes to.
Okay, what do you got? Is this, what, I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm Mike Jarvis. I live at 55 Mountain Shadows Drive.
Okay, hi.
Hi, Jim. Bill, I know you, Bill. Lloyd, how you doing? As you may or may not know, we've had ongoing issues with a sand pit in Mountain Shadows, and I've been to the planning board. We went on the March 21st date where Mr. Varney was granted permission to use the sand pit with a bunch of different conditions attached to it. I subsequently went again on May 2nd because he's supposed to put up a gate that's aesthetically pleasing for the neighborhood, and that has not been done. He committed to it again on May 2nd to do that. My biggest problem is the hours here, because as Mr. Barney stated, and it's in these minutes, my daughter and two granddaughters live only 400 yards from his operation. And 2 days on the 18th of June, on the 22nd of June, he was in there till 9 and 10 p.m. at night working machines. And, you know, my daughter's trying to put the kids to bed at 7 o'clock. Well, to make a long story short, I'm only coming to you folks because I went back to the planning board on Thursday night, and they told me they have no enforcement capabilities and that I needed to talk to Jack Parsons. And I talked to Jack Parsons, and he told me to get a copy of the minutes and go talk to Andy Shigura, the police chief, which I did. And Andy says that it is not his problem, it's his zoning problem. So I'm in a quandary here because Mr. Varney agreed to all these conditions to operate that pit, and he is not, you know, one of the other conditions besides the hours was he's supposed to give a key to the gate to my daughter because she has a legal easement through there. That has not been done. He's supposed to post the permit on the site.
He hasn't met the conditions for the permit yet, correct? So
I know, from my understanding he has. He's been taking sand out of there.
No, he does not have an excavation
Oh,
permit,
okay.
and he will not have one until he meets all the conditions.
Okay.
So.
Because one of the things, it's a spill company, he's supposed to post a spill company
Right,
on it.
exactly.
Okay. All right, well, my biggest problem obviously is the hours that he's in there.
If he's not digging and it's a pit, what is he doing in there?
He is digging.
I think what Mike is saying is that he's operating it illegally because he doesn't have an excavation permit.
All right.
He doesn't have the permit yet because he hasn't fulfilled all the requirements to get the permit.
And I just need to know where to go with this because, you know, I hate to take up you gentlemen's time and we don't want to be calling the police chief because Andy's saying it's not his problem.
Well,
And I'm just trying to figure out where we go.
Chief of police and I could have a discussion about what his problem might be or not be. But this, for all intents and purposes, amounts to a public ordinance when you get a permit to do something.
That's right.
So the enforcement is no different than enforcing any other ordinance.
Okay.
I think if there's you've gone back to the planning board can send a letter off to Barney and tell him to stop doing whatever he's doing. As far as Jack's concerned,
Yeah,
you walked in
walking through at the right time.
a permitted use by the planning board really does fall under your purview.
Correct, but he's not permitted yet. He has not come in and get the permit for the pit yet.
Because he hasn't met the
certain
conditions.
things he has to do.
So, you know, they haven't.
So
I
guess the
haven't been
question
tried
is
for that previous
what is the
DWI,
recourse
so I can drink
when,
again?
at the point where you're not permitted but you're operating without a permit?
I don't know that he's actually operating as a pit and pulling stuff out of there yet, so.
Is it stuff that's stockpiled on
I mean, he's been in there digging. It's very clear, he's been there digging, he's been there at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, two different nights has passed within the last, what is
That
it?
must be his son, that's not Fenton, that must be Junior in there playing around. Well, I haven't gone in to see if anything's dug out or anything, and I mean, Mike showed me a picture of his son's truck halfway up the embankment stuck.
Yep, now there's a boat in the middle of it, I mean, it's just,
the
it's
thing
just
about
ongoing.
it is, once it's permitted to be a pit.
Right.
That's it. It's not a recreation spot, it's a pit. That's the use it has now.
Are you allowed to go on the area to inspect it
I can go ahead.
during
yeah.
normal hours?
Yeah.
I mean, unless we see truck traffic going out, we're not really dealing with a pit permit
Correct.
problem, we're dealing with something else, so.
Correct. I don't know, like I say, that he's hauled anything out of there as a pit. I mean, you can move dirt around. So I think he can start moving dirt around. And if it's not being used as a pit, the hours don't come into effect. I mean, you can go dig in your property at that o'clock at night if you want to.
Well, I have more common sense
I
than
know,
that.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying you're allowed to.
Lloyd?
Who in town government do we send this gentleman to get some answers?
Well, I think the first place is to have Jack take a look and see what's going on over there, but then he has to go back to the planning board and bring his issue before the planning board. I mean, it's gonna weigh in on whether or not Fenton Barney gets a permit to dig in his pit. I mean, if they can't be good neighbors without a permit, why are we
Yeah.
permitting more
He
activity?
has conditions to be met before he gets his permit, and he hasn't met a couple of them, and it's only, I think, maybe one left to finish his gate, and that's it, and then he comes in with the application, and gets a permit. And then he's bound by the hours that he agreed to, which is 7 to 5 and 7 to 12 on Saturday.
Now, you're on the planning board.
Yes.
Is this the way to handle it, that Jack sits down with this gentleman, gets the information, so?
My understanding is that, the way forward, take a look at it and see what's going on, and we'll go forward from there. But it may very well be that this is an opportunity. He knows that once he has a permit, he can only do permitted activity in there, so.
But it goes the other way as well, is if you can't comply with the hours of operation that you're intending now, what's to say you're gonna comply later?
Well,
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, and I'd wanna know whether there's any dirt to get out of there.
That's right.
And if that's,
And I can't sit at the road all day long to see if a
No, I
truck of dirt,
appreciate
but I can go in
that.
there and dig, and whether he's just gone there and dig and move dirt, I don't know,
or
or
if there's
they're
people
pulling the
living there, I
stumps.
mean, your daughter lives there?
Well, next door.
Mr. Barney even stated in the minutes that it was 440 yards to my daughter's property, her house.
Right.
It's right
I mean,
there.
She's seeing dump trucks running out in and out?
I don't know if she's seen them. I know on Saturday night, they were in there till 9 o'clock, and there was, not only was there machines running, but there was a lot of screaming going on, like,
Yeah.
and it's just like, this has been ongoing for a long time, and it's just
Right, but right
ridiculous.
now, if it's not permitted as a pit, it's a piece of personal property.
Mhm.
Right.
So that,
But who do I call in that case? Because at 9 o'clock at night, if people are screaming and disturbing,
in my opinion, that's a police issue then.
See, that- here we
It's not
go.
a
This-
zoning
this
issue.
is-
I'm sorry, that's not a zoning issue, that's someone's,
Right, but we don't have a noise ordinance.
that's right.
But there is a disorderly conduct statute when
Right.
you're making a front or annoying noise that can, or conduct that can be heard in a private place.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Supreme Court pornography.
Yes,
You can't define it, but I know it when I see it.
exactly.
I mean, I'm just trying to be a good neighbor here with
Right.
him, but he's not behaving himself, and this has been ongoing, and I just want it to stop.
Yeah, I don't know that we can stop any use of, no, we can't. We don't have an ordinance for noise or activity or any other thing.
But we certainly can get the facts by these two guys
Yeah.
working together.
This is the best we can hope for.
They're both
see if
reasonable.
they digging, but.
Well, thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for spending the time
All right.
to talk to me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Be safe.
Thanks, Jack.
Yep.
All right, now we'll talk to Gordon Honey.
Hi, sir.
As chairman of the budget committee, or
Whatever I want me to be this way.
do you want to be the library guy?
I'll have other questions. What's on your mind?
Did we invite you? Or did you invite yourself?
I was summoned.
Karen, why did we summon this man?
For the budget process coming up,
Oh,
the things to be streamlined and
okay.
things like that.
And we haven't had a
So how can we
organization-
do better this year, working with the budget committee to get us from the starting gate to the budget hearing?
It's all timing. You know, Karen said that you guys wanted to start earlier, okay, because you felt we were getting into a crunch at the end of the season before the hearing. And that's fine, I mean, we'll work with you whenever you need to work, but, you know, we're pretty much at your bidding, because we need stuff to, you know, advance our working on it. If the earlier you want to start, it's the better.
Right, and we had, I mean, our intention last year was to streamline the process, and we got a little better, but it's that stuff that comes in at the end that just throws everything under the bus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's gotten a copy of our budget for the first half of the year, or we're getting, has Diane sent that out?
Oh, what's been spent to department
Right.
heads? I understand they get that on a regular basis.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think the budget committee has.
No, we haven't.
But the meeting's in July for the budget
Right.
committee.
All
so-
right.
So if she wants to do the first half, we're not quite done yet.
So our July meeting is what date?
I can't remember at the moment if it's, well, actually, I can look online. But I know when we spoke about this last, you had mentioned not setting a date with department head yet until you got to meet with Gordon too, like as far as when they should submit their budgets to Diane and things. But let me see when that meeting
So we
is.
need to establish during that July meeting what we'd like to see in September.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll inform our department heads of that. I think it's pretty straightforward.
I have some thoughts. I think that each year's been pretty much balanced. First of all, in September, we set determine what inflation is for cost of living increases, so the department heads don't have to redo their budget. And we've done that for 2 or 3 years. That seems to be working. There's one concern that I have is we've had 2 citizens come in and talk about projects. Federal Corner Road and Shirley Way. In order for them to get through the CIP, we need to get some engineering estimates and they can't start in September and October. We need to get some of those things off the table. There's 3 or 4 other projects that are
Well,
going
we didn't budget for any of that this year. And we don't have any budget for an engineer to do a plan for Shirley Way, for instance. So how would you proceed or propose to pay for it?
well, I'll bring it up again. We have some...
The extra money?
Yes, we have some extra money.
All right, then I think that's a proposal that needs to get brought forward.
Yeah.
And then we can vote on it.
Sure.
Not vote on it today.
Right. It does involve the budget process, but it needs to go to CIP too, so, and I can think of 4 or 5 projects that citizens have come in and talked about, and we need to put them out to bid.
And did you have questions, or was it just Selectman Marcuson about the payment procedure on the library project?
As far as?
Submitting invoices.
Well,
And then-
not for them. This is,
internal.
when we get the invoices, we need to get the request in for the funds out of the capital reserve fund before we just pay it out of our
Right.
money here.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Get the
also-
money, then we can pay it, and
We also need to contact them when we're tapping their money, the library.
Yeah.
but we're not gonna do that till we're out of capital reserve fund. So,
So far, I did the spreadsheet up on, as of last Friday, we have expended $89,000 so far. Now, 2 of those, the first 2 invoices from the architect, we paid before we got to the point, prior to town meeting. So anything that's coming into the library, I'm looking at, I'm initial is $20. Okay.
and we're trying to tighten our procedure up so that as soon as she gets it, that generates the document to start getting the money out of the capital reserve fund. Rather than sucking down our working cash while we wait 3-4 weeks before we get it back from, so, yeah, I think what's coming from you is fine.
And your bids are all in on the,
We are still working on a few more. I've got to, I'm going to Concord today to sit down with the architect. We've got a couple wrinkles I'm a little concerned about. I want to try and iron out before.
these are budgetary wrinkles or?
Well, yeah, it always comes down to money.
Everything's budgetary when it's at
Everything
the
comes
end
down
of
to
the day.
money.
yeah.
So we're working on a couple of things. You know, keep in mind that our budget was for this project was done last August, okay? And what's happened to the economy in the last 11 months?
It
Price
hasn't
of
gotten
materials,
worse.
price of
Yeah.
materials,
Right.
availability of contractors and labor, so it's, you know, it's gonna get done, it's gonna get done correctly, but it's, you know, as I said, we're gonna have to do a little massaging on it.
Do we have a groundbreaking date?
Oh, we're gonna be, we're probably gonna start knocking down trees next week.
Okay.
All right, and, okay, so that's my break. Now we're back on budget.
Okay.
And, this was the last year of your health insurance contract, all right? I don't know where you're standing on that right now, but I'm not,
There was
I think forewarned is forearmed, as I said 2 years ago. I said, I really think you have to look at the whole benefits package.
There was an offer by a member of the planning board, or the budget committee,
Mm-hmm.
to work with us on that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna approach him
All right, please do, because
and try to get something happening.
I don't, as I say, it could be a very, very long budget season
Yeah.
unless we see some kind of major change in the package. And I'm not blaming you, I'm not blaming the sitting board. I blame the board that was sitting in place when they did the Thornton's done, because that was the time it should have been done, and it wasn't. But that's then and this is now. But I suggested, you know, last year, 2 years ago, that, you know, you contact some of the other civil civic authorities in the area to see what's being offered. Okay, I'm not saying you have to contact them, but just be
It
aware.
always makes sense to benchmark.
Exactly.
Right, and to a certain degree, that was, I know 2 years ago that was done.
So we need to update our benchmark.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. And then be able to defend your benchmark. Because it's gonna take a certain amount of defense. You know, it's a new board, we have some new people on the board, and
Right.
it's not going to be an easy sell. Just laying that out for you all in advance.
Okay.
All right?
Yep,
Yeah.
I think that is a good reason to get them involved in the process as
Mhm.
well, as opposed to just looking at the work product that we do.
Call me.
Yeah,
I'll be there. Anytime you need me, call me.
okay, great.
I have a lot of open time.
So I've heard, out of the hardware business area?
Well, that's better known as adult daycare.
Yeah.
Alex lets him come play down there sometimes.
Only when he needs me.
Yeah.
I wanted to switch back to library, and I apologize, I wanted to speak to you first. It's just only for my own information. The Northport Engineering for DOT driveway permitting,
Yeah.
did that come out of your funds, or did it come out of trustees' funds?
Was that the $275? Which one is this?
And I apologize for hitting you cold here.
No, that one's been submitted.
Could you give me or think about it? I can remember when we went through this with the Gould property,
Yeah.
where the town has certain exceptions where they don't have to pay fees to the state and whatnot. The other thing is that 109A is a prescription road. We own to the center of the road. In that bill there, are we still on the hook for another $1,000?
This would be, no, total.
Because it says 2,200, 50%. Am I misreading it?
I'd have to see the data. I don't know, we've not looked at another land since, I don't know.
And again, I apologize for hitting you cold.
Here, to be honest with you.
Well, let's give them the opportunity to check in on
Yeah.
it.
Well, with respect to driveways on state highways, regardless of what they are, the state controls, as you know, the driveway permit. Regardless of whether the landowner owns to the center of the road or not.
And we are, of course, we're changing our existing driveway pattern anyway, so it's gonna be one way in, one way out. It'll no longer be a
Yeah.
A new
get better access.
I knew that, I'll sit down with you, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think that's just part about the meeting schedule. The first budget committee meeting, the organizational one, is July 30th.
Okay.
And then review of budget begins October 1st, so I guess it's just something
Is the,
to, budget reviews begin October 1st according to our
Okay.
schedule, so as far as submissions and things.
um,
And Diane entering it, you know.
Part
too.
of the budget process involves us. I don't think it's fair for us to decide on something Monday, and then Tuesday she has to have it all ready to go, for the meeting. There needs to be a week's space there, and that, for the last 2 years, I thought has worked out very well.
Yeah.
Because not only budget, you have to keep the trains running normally.
okay. So, all right. Sometime between now and July 30th, I'll summon your board member in and we'll have
Mhm.
a meeting with him. So
Sure.
set something up. Great. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Have a good summer.
We'll be back.
Oh, yeah.
Have a nice trip to Concord.
That's a lovely day for a ride. I'm gonna take the route.
Yeah,
With the top down?
Well, I have one to be done.
right.
Excuse me.
Okay. Are we still meeting with the HUD grant billings?
You know, they didn't get back to me either way, so.
No, I really don't know how we fit into that whole scenario, so
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
yeah. Maybe after he spoke with that lady, things changed, but he didn't let me know.
I'm gonna start with the signature file. The first and primary signature needed is the Board of Selectmen wishes to extend its gratitude to Jack Parsons for serving on the Tuftonboro Planning Board for 12 years. Time and energy you devoted to the committee is very much appreciated. Thank you for your service to the town and your community. I'll make a motion that we sign this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item for signature is the Board of Selectmen requesting a reimbursement for payment made to New Hampshire Electric Co-op for electric pole easement totaling $120 regarding the library expansion.
So move.
Second. All those in favor? That's what I gotta ask the question.
Aye.
Aye. And the next item for signature.
So I do have a question about these cap reserve fund requests. Do we need to move and approve every request? Or is this something that could be included with the weekly run for checks that we sign? Because what we're doing is we're signing off on authorization to get the funds.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, if it would be in with the weekly check signing, then it gets through the mill faster than if it has to wait for a meeting
Right.
to do that.
The trustees of the trust funds require us to sign a piece of paper, and then they initial it or okay it, and then that allows Diane to write the check, right?
No. My understanding is that the signed authorization from us to get the funds out is what causes them to write a check on the account that this money is in to the town. So we get the money from them, all right? Once we get the money, then we expend out of the big pool of money that we
That
have.
account, yes.
Right, so,
The only thing I think we have to vote on is asking for the money. So, for instance, if we were to vote on,
I think the appointment's here, right?
well, it's gonna have to wait. we're asking the trustees of the trust funds for $12,000.
Yes.
But beyond that, I don't think we have to wait for anything, do we? Or are you saying we don't have to vote?
Well,
on
that's,
this?
that's my question, okay, is that, in the same way that we're,
Does it just become a signature page?
right, and if it does, then it gets processed faster than if it has to wait for a meeting.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that, I'm just raising the,
Yeah, I don't either. I think maybe a query with,
I'd like to follow up on it. In welfare, we have you make a decision rather than, because there's some exigency involved. I have no problem, either you or whoever you pick, trying it, see if it works, see if it's legal, and move things along.
I think
The
I'd
last
rather
the last
ask-
thing I want is the vendors to be tied up for
Right.
2 months.
but I think I'd like to ask local government, maybe just see if we need to go through this exercise.
That's reasonable.
Then we'll just include this signature page with the check. And we'll
Exactly.
sign off on it. Okay.
Okay.
For the time being, however, I've got a request for $12,217.30.
move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Is there another spot to sign?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 3 spots.
And he's gotta sign the back one too.
Right. Okay, do we have Peter Billings? Is that who we have here in front of us? Hello? Are you Peter Billings?
I am, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna hold up on signing things until we've met with Mr. Billings.
Yep.
Okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. This is a question about a community HUD grant for the North Country Village. Come on up. Have a seat, okay?
Hi, sir.
How are you? Pete Billings,
Lloyd Wood.
Mr. Wood.
Bill Markison, nice to meet you.
Chip off it.
I know you,
You do?
yeah.
You
I
admit
met
it?
you years
You
ago.
okay with that?
Your wife married me.
Did she?
Yeah.
She can't do that. She's already married to me.
Yeah. Well, I was your second choice.
No, you're probably her first choice. Okay. So what's up?
Well, I'm the operations manager at the North Country Village Cooperative, and our water distribution system is going to pot. And we're trying to get a loan and a grant to do the project, which is gonna run about $1 million, give or take. And we need the town to go through you're the ones that get the community development block grant.
Okay.
You don't do anything, we do all the work, and you don't have to pay anything, it's just that you're the one that has to apply for it.
Okay. And I don't know, I don't recall we've ever done that before. I know that at the county we do it annually.
Well, we did something similar. We collected the tax dollars and kept it in escrow for Hidden Valley when they did the $1 million dam. So it was under our umbrella.
Yeah, this is a different
This is a different animal.
Yeah. So, and
Do
I think we're not familiar with exactly the procedures
Well,
that we need to go through.
actually, the next step would be for you to hold a hearing. And after the hearing, then you just, if you agree with what went on in the hearing, you'll give the approval. We have an administrator, grant administrator, her name is Donna Lane, she's from Conway.
Okay.
And she'll do everything. She'll do all the work.
All the applications and that.
Yeah, yeah, you people just basically are rubber stamps.
Right.
And,
So,
you know,
I guess whatever in the way of background documents and information we can have to make sure that whatever we do in the way of a hearing, we do in a proper manner would be helpful to us.
oh yeah, you have all that.
We do?
Yeah. No, you will.
Okay.
Yeah, you will.
And that's,
And originally, we were gonna try and make, there's a state drinking water, which we've pre-applied for that for a loan. And then the community development block grant comes on the I believe the 29th of July, 28th of July. And we decided the other day that it's just not enough time. So we're gonna do the January 1. So we have to have your approval, we have to have a resolution from the park people, which our annual meeting is next Saturday. And then we have to have a community survey as far as income is concerned, so that they know where everybody sits as far as income. So, so we need those 3 things, and then we can go ahead and apply for this. And we just don't have enough time between now and July to do it. Getting the income is gonna be kind of tough from some of the people.
So we have, and I can have Karen, our selectman secretary, provide you with a copy that we have a schedule of our meetings for July and August, September, October, November, December, but all of them. What we need to have is probably your grant writer come down with whatever documents we need to sign off on, and maybe an explanation. I think I remember Ms. Lane from when I was a county commissioner.
Yeah.
She was doing the block grants. So now that I hear what it is, it doesn't sound too complicated, but you need somebody like her to.
But if we have to have a public hearing, then that means it's got to be noticed.
Well, we'll do that after we've met with the grant writer.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I don't know what the sequence is, but the public hearing generally, always requires public notice, a certain amount of time before it, and that sort of thing.
We understand, that's one of the reasons we put it off.
Right.
Being this is vacation.
And that's probably all within the grant
Yeah.
stipulations, so it'll tell us when we have to have our public hearing.
And by then, we should also have the resolution from the park, because we can't get that, we can't go any further anyway.
Right.
So, I originally scheduled today because I thought we were gonna try and make the 28th. And
That's an aggressive timeline, no, yeah.
It's just, the government doesn't move that fast.
We do, but the rest of So we're willing and able to do it, we just need to have a lot more information.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
we have a great well and pump situation, that's all taken care of. It's just a distribution, curb stops don't open, and we have, our roads are gone, so in order to, if we tire the roads and then have to go in and dig up to do the water system, so we're trying to do it vice versa.
Makes sense.
So.
And is there fire protection down there, is there hydrants?
Okay.
Dry hydrant.
Just a dry hydrant?
I don't know if a cistern is part of the plan or whatever.
We have a fire pond there too.
Okay.
So when would you like her to be here?
What I would suggest is that we have our secretary give you a copy of our schedule, and she can just pick a date that's convenient for her.
Okay.
I mean,
Actually,
that would be easier
this is the most updated.
than us selecting a date and then her saying she's done something else and back and forth.
How many residents in the park?
57.
That's homes?
Actually, it's 56 now. One of our members died. His place is empty, but there are 57 homes.
Right. I know that you and your staff have worked with the fire department. I'm a
Is there a
firefighter
talk of
EMT.
expansion?
I don't think so. Want one right now?
Are there more sites than that?
No.
No.
There were some planned, but as far as
Yeah,
I
I thought
know,
there
there's
were.
no plans to go on.
Now, how long have you lived there?
Just moved there last year.
Well, almost a native.
Yeah, came from
Wanted to get
Texas.
closer to his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in Ospey and then moved to Texas for 10 years.
What part of Texas?
Right outside of Dallas.
Used to live in Austin and then
Yeah.
El Paso.
I lived in a little town of Rome.
Yes.
which is just couple of miles from the Texas Motor Speedway.
Yep.
And they said, the medical people told my wife that she had Parkinson's, and so we had no family, and so we came home and we went up to Berlin and met with a neurologist up there, and she said she don't have Parkinson's, so it was all for naught. So, but I love it here.
That's some good news.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your
Nice
time.
meeting you.
Look forward to
Give
seeing
my
you
best to
again.
your wife.
I will.
Yeah.
So your wife was the JP?
She's a judge.
Yeah.
She can hear it.
We got married in Macomb on July 3rd, 2003.
Wow.
So it's gonna be 16 years ago next week.
That's why you
Keep
smile.
up the good work.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend.
How do you do? Oh, okay, sign that. Okay, and then we have another request for $1,100 from the trustee of the trust fund. So I'm gonna,
So move.
So, and
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And
So I guess another question, perhaps related, is if they have to be individual, or if we can make a request and then itemize on.
Yeah, one sheet.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to an individual request. Okay. The next item for signature is a special limited power of attorney where we want to grant to, the town of Tuftonboro wants to grant this limited power of attorney to our attorney of record, Rick Sager, for the limited purposes of signing away all of our rights, of delivering the 2 tax sale deeds,
Right.
etc.
to do the proper paperwork, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's gonna be notarized. Do we have it, is Heather here?
I can do it when I get back to my desk.
Okay. The next item for signature has just one signature line, and it's to engage Roberts and Green PLLC as our auditing company for auditing our financial statements.
This is for this year.
Right.
So move.
Second with a comment.
Okay, go ahead, second.
I know several towns that use them, and they're very pleased with their work. I've been pleased with their work, and they have it before town meeting, which wasn't always. The only thing that nags at me, and you and I had this conversation, is auditors are like locks. You're supposed to, they recommend that they change occasionally, but look, let's not do it this year. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Karen, help me out here.
Okay.
We've got 2 signature lines on the left and a signature line on the right.
That's 3 selectmen, 3
We're gonna
signatures.
do all 3 of us?
Yeah, I guess so.
They're not signing this?
Well, this is our letter
Right.
engaging them.
Okay. Okay. So then, the next item for signature is once again with Roberts and Green, a description of, or a contract basically, for auditing services.
a good week.
The fee
Oh,
for
thank
this
you.
will be $10,900. That will be for the year ending 2019. One is this different. Okay, I'm sorry, I misspoke. The first letter we signed was a responsibility confirmation, which was for our 2018 audited financial report.
Correct.
And we're accepting their audited financial report. The next item for signature, Robertson Green PLLC, is a contract for 2019's auditing services.
So moved.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item for signature is a petition from the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative and Consolidated Communications of Northern New England. And these petitioners are hereby granted a license to erect and maintain poles, structures, conduits, cables, etc. So this is the pole license for the New Hampshire Electric Cooperative and Consolidated Communications. Do I have a second? I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have to sign 3 copies of this. The next item for signature is an intent to cut on, where is it? Oh, there it is, tax max 60-22-20 through 60-2-23. Road.
Okay, I'll move approval. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item for signature is a yield tax levy for $223 on the same lot, 60-2-20, 60-2-23. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the next item for signature is a corrective right of burial.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it was
Right. Alrighty. You're welcome. Alrighty.
January 22nd, 2018, transfer incorrectly conveyed CR 6-1. This is for CR 7-1.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next item for signature is a warrant for arrest of a Bunch of dogs. They're all coming in. We're gonna lock them up. That's my dog in here. So this is the town clerk's warrant for unlicensed dogs.
I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next is a notice of appointment for Russ Barronclaw, is that properly said?
Yep.
Who's gonna be filling a vacancy on the Milfoil Control Committee. His term will expire June 2022.
And there's another one as well.
Oh, I was looking at both.
Yep.
The other is for Steve Wingate, to fill a vacancy on the Milfoil Control Committee. His term will expire June 2022.
So I'll move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item for signature is the beginning of a relationship with, or another relationship with.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. This is, the planning board is establishing a relationship with DTC as their counsel for land use matters. And this is the same sort of acknowledgement that we signed when we took on different group at DTC for representation on utilities. And basically, we're just acknowledging with this that there may be situations where there's a conflict of interest between what they do for us and what they do for other clients and the approach that they take in dealing with it, which, as I read it over, I thought was, in the former instance, very straightforward and made a lot of sense. And they go a long way to be above board all the way around in terms of how they're
Yeah, they have to. I mean, they've got the rules.
What is the hourly rate?
We haven't gotten to that.
I don't recall, but it was the most reasonable of any of the terms we looked at.
I'm in favor of it because, in previous boards, I've been on negotiation sessions with.
Okay, you'll be billed, partners are billed at $190 an hour, service of associates of the firm are billed at $160 an hour, and paralegal assistants are $100 an hour. So 55-cent mileage charge. And that's about it. DTC's, just for the record, stands for Donahue, Tucker, and Shindell. They have offices in Exeter, Portsmouth, Meredith. So, do I have a motion to sign?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Okay. Oh, two signatures, I'm sorry. Guess we need a copy for us. Well, I'm glad they finally made a decision. I think it's a good decision.
Yes.
And I will tell you, in going through the process, they were very thorough. One of the members started out with, question and answer things to a number of firms, met with each of these firms at their offices to explore their strengths and weaknesses, and then came back with a recommendation.
How many different firms did they have? It was more than three, wasn't it?
I think there were either 3 or 4.
Certainly did due diligence.
Well, they're big enough so that they probably will have somebody on board that knows
Yep.
a particular problem.
And,
Does,
and as importantly on land use matters, they don't have a relationship with any of the surrounding towns, which is, you know, one of the things you always want to avoid when there's a potential for difference of opinion between adjoining communities is that you're not both working with the same council.
okay, the next item for signature is a intent to excavate for Mary Jane Sergeant Priscilla. Was there a permit issued for her?
Yeah, anything
Yes.
that's in there has a
And
permit.
they, but we should have the permit number.
Oh, did I not put it in on those? I'm
Right.
sorry.
Right. So
Oh, it's
that's,
right here. Oh, I guess I put it,
You put it on the wrong,
well, that says data report permit, oh, per RSA.
Data.
We're this RSA, 155E2, I think that's why I put it there. That's our RSA for
right, so,
So
it. So
you're saying
2190EX.
20193EX?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So 20193.
But I don't think we go by that RSA though. It's not here. You follow me? I think it's
Is there a
155E2.
different RSA?
I don't know what 485A is, but we're this one that we've been going by.
well, this is the date, 6/10, I think, and this is where they want the permit
Okay,
number
good, no
down
problem.
there.
Okay.
So-
Okay.
And maybe,
It's not gonna hurt anything.
So I'll move,
Okay.
I will move approval.
okay, well, second, all those in favor?
Aye. And I will
So
tell
if
you,
we're
as
gonna-
the planning board went through the permitting process with all of these, these are existing
Existing bids.
pits. It was a pretty exhaustive process that included walking the property with the landowner, Jack, and the planning board chairman, marking boundaries of area that has been cleared for excavation. The posting of required notices on the property. And there were some other things. Anyway, it wasn't a perfunctory process at all.
So we're getting them all out of the way here today. The next is a notice of intent to excavate, once again, permit number 20194EX. That's to Fred Sargent.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 624. The next is intent to excavate. Why are they making the checks out to the state of New Hampshire, by the way?
Anything over 1,000 cubic.
Yards has to go $100 check to the state.
So they don't make the bid check out to us and then we send it to the state.
No, correct, they don't. I send it as
Okay.
it is to the state, yep.
Notice to excavate, permit number 20192EX.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And last but not least, notice of intent to excavate, permit number 20195EX for Mike Carl.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. And this particular pit is one that didn't fall under the old grandfather provision, so they went through the full DES.
So, and all that.
You're gonna have us sign that?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. When I'm done, everybody's done.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
we're good to go on that.
We've got a public notification coming out in the paper. We approve it for public comment on charter communications, Spectrum Time Warner, and they're doing business in town.
Yeah,
Are we all set with,
I think that looks fine.
okay?
Excellent.
Put it in the paper.
Yeah, you already approved it, actually, I put it in, but those
All
are
right.
just some of the responses you received.
All right, oh yeah. I did have another idea, thought, and that is to make available a survey for people. You're familiar with like Survey Monkey?
Yeah, I mean, I've never created one, but I'm
Right,
familiar with it.
but, and the idea of that, in my mind at least, is we can ask specific questions and get them to answer it. Have you ever had any opportunity to contact the company by phone? Yes, no, and if it's yes, was it easy, whatever, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the response that we got, as I remember from looking through it, was from people that said, we would like to have the cable, and we don't have the cable, and they don't run it to our location. And specifically with respect to internet. And we know that the franchise agreement has no relationship to products other than television signals over the cable. So I think it's instructive and helpful to us to appreciate that there are people that don't have cable that would like it, particularly for the internet.
I think that was for TV, isn't it? Because that's the only thing we can ask. Anyway, I haven't.
Well.
But anyway.
If they get TV, they get internet.
Yeah,
Right.
right,
So,
right. So,
Yeah,
and
I
the
think-
real issue with the TV, and anybody that doesn't have it, is, as far as I understand, they're perfectly happy to provide it. It's just, there's a huge installation cost to get it from the last point to wherever you are.
That's right.
So if you're willing to pony up $10 or $12 or $18,000 to have them run it from where it is up to your place, they'll install it. And it's just the installation cost is prohibitive.
Right.
I just think, I look at the Winter Circle Farm issue. We had like 5 or 6 homes up there.
Right.
Well, if it's 5 homes in a mile, they got the 5 homes, what's the problem?
Mhm.
And they're gonna say the problem is getting from Ledge Hill Road up the hill, I guess. But, I mean, I think they certainly have a case. I don't know about
You got somebody way back up in Canaan
out there
Valley.
in
That's,
McDuffie Road, I
Yeah.
don't know how far out he is, but I
it's-
know
it's
there's
a ways.
cable into Canaan Valley. It's just how far do they go? So I think it's obviously stuff we need to let our negotiator know about. The planning board has scheduled a municipal wastewater system workshop at the townhouse on July 11th. Open to anyone.
And they'd like you folks to go, are you going? If you are, I would need to post it.
Not till the 11th. We got a little time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put it back in.
So the generator line, et cetera, has been installed, excavated and repaved at the transfer station.
Yep, so
So we got an invoice here. Where do I charge this expense? $2,450.
Well, I know we encumbered funds last year to cover at least parts of that.
I can look that up, I'm not from, I don't remember
Yeah,
that. I can look up.
take a quick run and see Diane. I just looked at her encumbered funds spreadsheet this morning on something else. I didn't even think about that. But if you can get that, we can see how much money's left in those items. I know we didn't encumber everything we needed to get this jobs done because we didn't have all the costs.
Right, and that's the cost you didn't have was the trenching cost. and
Yeah.
going back to it, so.
Yeah, so,
Right, and we've got $7,000 in equipment maintenance that nothing's been spent on. I mean, he's gonna spend money on something, but.
yep, so, yep.
I don't know if he has any new equipment that he needs, but he's got $2,600 sitting there.
Is that what you want, or just the list? I'm sorry, did you just want the list?
The encumbered funds list, yes.
Right, yeah.
Which I know is up to date because she and I looked at it as something else this morning. We're trying to figure out where to.
Is any of this in encumbered funds?
Let's see, this has to do with,
We encumbered funds for 2 generators last year.
right, and I talked to Jack about this bill when it came in, and he said that he was trying to get an estimate, but he couldn't get, I don't know who he went for this, but he wasn't getting anything back from them, and oh, there it is.
Right, so that's over and above the encumbered funds,
Okay.
as well as a little bit more on the gas for the transfer station, because they want to put 2 tanks up there instead of 1, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy with either line, new equipment or equipment maintenance. What do you guys think?
So what are you looking at?
It's $2,600, is it?
Right, and you're talking about transfer station maintenance
Yeah.
and,
What account number?
Account number 63.
42 what?
630.
What,
4194 05 630, transfer station.
how?
Well, and then we get there's a larger amount of money in other property maintenance and improvement. I have no idea what he has,
You can go check and see if I have notes on that.
what he has budgeted in there. I'd be more inclined to put it in the improvements line for 2 reasons. One is it's a one-time expense rather than, I'm fixing this or I'm fixing that. And there is more money available in there.
I agree with you.
You have 4194, is that the budget?
4194 07
410.
410.
Right.
Right. And that's our line, that's not Clay's line.
You don't want to do the transfer maintenance, you want to do other,
Well, I'm just,
that's fine,
I'm just,
that's fine, fine with that. So let's pay it out of 4194 07 410. That's the improvement line.
yep.
Well, we don't have money enough in there.
Hmm?
We don't have money enough in
Don't have money in where?
there. I'm only showing $300
Oh.
left.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But we do have $61,000 left.
Yeah, but that, I mean, do we want to go that route?
61,000 what, in,
The balance in that entire
Right.
4194 account.
There's other stuff that's gonna happen.
yeah,
Any about contingency?
no.
No.
This is not,
Something.
this isn't something that came up during the year, okay?
Transfer station maintenance, let's do that.
Yeah.
4194 05 63. 4194 05
6,
06
05,
05 63.
yeah.
Transfer station maintenance.
Got that? 4194 05 630.
Yeah.
So that's transportation maintenance.
All right.
And so we may run over on that line by $2,500 this year, or whatever, but,
Well, we'll see.
yeah, but that's not an unreasonable place to.
All right, thank you very much.
Makes sense.
Okay, the public notice, the selectmen, I think we're all going, aren't we, tonight?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least two of us are going. Lloyd and I to the Lakes Region Planning Commission annual meeting in Chicarawa.
Chakarua.
Yep, Chakarua. You had a chance to look at this, Bill, on the proposal for Betsy Haferman.
I looked it over.
Any, okay, this is a proposal, just for the record. Ms. Haferman had been in last week. She has land on Lang Pond Road across the street from Mirror Lake. The town of Tuftonboro owns land on the Mirror Lake side of Lang Pond, 2 small beach easements. And she's making a proposal to alter those.
Do a land swap.
Do a land swap. And she's, the PS is she'll gladly meet with us to show us where she wants to put it. I mean, it kind of, I guess it addresses part of the issue. I don't know what, she wants us to sign something that is an agreement to change our easement. And I'm not sure we're ready.
So I have at least a couple of thoughts on that. One is, if we have the authority to do it, and I believe we do, my guess is it at least requires a public notice and a public hearing.
Oh, yeah.
And to provide ample opportunity for the public to provide input to it. I haven't walked the area where she's proposing to swap for what we have. I mean, I understand why it's of interest to them to provide, to have the town's access to the Mirror Lake be further away from the property that they're selling. My sense from just looking at what we were looking at last time is that it's a less accessible location for the public to use to access Mirror Lake, and may not have a beach area similar to what we have today. So I guess I would be interested in eyeballing it before we even consider going through the process of entertaining the swap.
Yeah, we can't make an agreement either. I mean, this is kind of simplistic. They're asking the selectmen to sign this pre-sale agreement. We haven't seen it. We're gonna have to have it surveyed. As I told her, we need all of the people involved to sign up.
Right.
And all I got is Betsy Haferman right now.
Yep.
But I guess we can take a look at what they're proposing. Okay.
To be continued.
We have State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation legal claim form. For what, I don't know. Did they do something to us?
Lloyd provided that for that fence repair reimbursement.
Okay. So it needs to get filled out. What fence, the fence down in 19 Mile Bay? Okay. Who handled that repair?
Hired, put out to bid.
You know, Brian
Yeah.
McCork or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
McCork.
Fence company did the work.
all right, so can we task you with filling that out with all the permit
Did you have some
information?
concerns about it you wanted to say? No? Okay. Okay, they can just throw it back in if not. I'll-
Okay. Then lastly, we have a letter from Harriet Bixler to the governor. Do you want to read this into the record, or are we all set?
I think we're set.
I'm also, speaks for himself.
Yeah.
Is that to do
They're
with-
just,
is
they're
that to
just
do with how- is that
going
s-
on record as being in opposition to the creation of a state land use review board that would have veto powers over the local land use
Is that
boards.
Senate Bill 630 or something like that?
306.
306.
And I mean, I couldn't figure out how they planned on letting this pass constitutional muster. I mean, it just goes against so many parts of.
There's already a process in place, which you should go to court if you want
Yeah,
to challenge.
right, you can go to
So,
Superior Court and then go to Supreme Court.
right, so.
All of our,
And this whole thing is to just bypass that and make it more streamlined for somebody to challenge and have overturned the decision of a local land use board, which
It's no different.
I can't imagine anybody being in favor of.
it's no different than the movement a few years ago with a totally Republican Senate to have a 3-person review committee for all divorce cases. Lay legislators to, I mean, it is, you know, I call it the Robespierre movement. I
Yeah.
mean, let's have the beret-wearing radicals in the legislature determining whether or not they like something. Don't get me started.
And is that submission to the Tufton Borough Times fine? To go ahead and
I
pass
think,
it?
well,
I can juggle it up a little.
yeah, I guess my only concern is it's gonna be
I
mailed
thought it
out.
went out already.
No, it goes out on the 13th of July.
Oh, I
So-
thought that was back in the middle of June.
No,
All
so
right, I'll look at
some
it.
of it needs to be tweaked a little bit, yeah.
Gotta be more up to date. Don't give it to me, I'll come and get it.
Well then, well, I think it's due Friday.
It's due Friday this
Yeah.
week, yeah.
Here, right now.
Okay.
Don't worry.
So,
Um,
and I don't know if Carroll is paving here this week or not. I know that was.
They've done Sawyer Road and they've done Brown Road.
All right, so, and I know they were paving over in Wolfboro last week. They just finished up trotting track, so
Looks like
maybe
they-
there's a good shot we're gonna have the paving work done before the 4th of July.
Right.
Yeah. Be nice.
Sounds like a good one. All right, that's all I'm gonna talk about there. We've all gone through the correspondence. It's all available to the public for whenever they want it. Selectmen's update, any updating to do?
I will make a couple of brief updates. The second part of the Joint Loss Management Committee safety inspection we did on the Wednesday before last. We had some issues in this building, mainly with pile of trash in the basement that we reached out to our refuse collector to get out of here.
It wasn't
Yes.
police related?
Hmm?
It wasn't police related?
No, this was stuff that people had identified they were gonna throw out and was just in a big pile in the middle of the summer. So I haven't been down there since, but hopefully that's gone. I mentioned the sign issue down at Union Wharf, and it's confusing at best the way it is, so sort of, but no other issues of any significance that we came across. That was good. We received, let me put my milfoil hat on for a moment. Last last week we received from the state a spring milfoil survey with a recommendation that the herbicide treatment that we have scheduled is not warranted at this point based on the growth levels. We do have some patches that need to be harvested, and we have that scheduled with our contractor for the week of, I think it's the 22nd, 23rd of July.
So wasn't this gonna be a big year for spending money on that?
Well, if we're doing herbicide, right, so if it doesn't need herbicide, and at this point it doesn't, it may need it in the fall. She'll do another survey later, but that money may end up being unspoken for. So that's all I have.
When does the planning board meet again?
On the 11th of July. Yep, meets on the 11th of July, and that's when the wastewater treatment presentation is going to be made, which should be interesting. Unfortunately, I'm away that week, so
That's just the one for
Tyler Phillips is going to be making that presentation, right?
Anything?
Master plan?
My understanding is that the individual at LRPC that is going to be doing the work on has had a meeting with representatives of the planning board. They've got I'm understanding what needs to be done and sort of a timetable of that.
Anything else, Lloyd?
Would it be appropriate to ask the police to assign an officer to the concert series? Like we did, we asked for a police presence at
Yeah, I don't think we can pick the officer, but I did
No.
ask the.
Right.
the one be assigned.
I mean, I don't know how many, last year there was pretty good attendance.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I think that's,
Big public event.
yeah.
I mean, if he has to, we can look at the detail.
Right.
I want to support the police any way that I can. I do think that it needs a presence there.
Okay.
And it's not that I anticipate any problems, but it's like an insurance policy. We have some paperwork in about a tax delinquent case in here, and I'd like to be heard on it in private.
Well, it's
Well, we've got
part
it
of the non-public.
Okay.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Public input, please.
Sure.
Initially, a statement, in the contract for Spectrum, I want it's 15 homes per mile. They will not run unless there's that amount in the present contract.
And where does the mile start? At the last home?
Well, the first home, I don't know. 15 miles. The point I want to make about that is, we've been messing with these people for quite a while. And we jumped through hoops when we did the transfer station. It was as high as 15,000, and we got it for $5,000. Okay, inflated prices. You made a comment that says, well, we'll give it to the negotiator. Who's the negotiator? There was one, unless something happens, somebody step up and say, okay, I'll negotiate a new contract. We're not dealing with a lawyer here.
We have an attorney looking at the contract.
Sager?
No.
Was it that other
I'm not
woman
gonna
that we
tell
had
you.
before?
It's, all of it is in non-public at this current point in time. We're looking for professional advice.
It can't be non-public. It has to be open to the public. These
No,
people
it
are making
doesn't.
us jump hoops.
Any conversation that we have with an attorney that we have hired is non-public conversation. It's not a public conversation. It's a legal conversation between client and attorney.
Is this the same lawyer that did the last contract when Carolyn and company were here? To your knowledge?
I'm not gonna.
You can't tell me. Okay, furthermore, if we're gonna go play this game all over again, okay, keep an accurate count of emails and correspondence between, they shouldn't be sealed, they should be open to the public. You know, and this is for a
We've had
personal comment.
two meetings with this person to establish the parameters within which we need to approach this problem. That's all we've done. There hasn't been any sort of contractual negotiations with the cable company or any of that. We just need to know what we have for ground rules, what approach we should take, and what opportunities we might have.
And I've given you the contract. We're not getting anything back from the Spectrum people or Time Warner people.
Right.
They just haven't responded, okay? My main concern is getting rolled over all over again. There's 15 homes in a mile. There's a lot of people in town that don't have cable or internet or whatever, okay? This is wrong, okay? When Tim was here, I should have a studio downstairs with an actual input to the channel up in Conway at their charge. It doesn't say that they had to supply the equipment, but it could be alleged that they would set us up so we could broadcast from there, okay?
Joe, can I address the 1 mile issue?
Yes, please.
You come to the map. You sit on Ledge Hill Road and go up to Winter Circle. You start at that point and go up that road 1 linear mile, and there are not 15 houses.
Okay.
Other towns have done the following. Sit there at that intersection and go in a 1 mile radius, and there's a lot more than 15 houses. It's very similar to what the cell phone people do with cell phones. They find your 2 houses in Buttonwood, okay, that meet the criteria. Well, that's that square mile. You know, it's gamesmanship that you and I have talked about.
But it has to be worded as such, okay?
Yes.
It's gotta be specific.
See, I'm agreeing with you, aren't I?
Yeah. Okay. Let me move on, so I wanna get out of here because I'm into overtime. Bill, did you happen to read the cable survey? You may have gotten the electronic, and all I'm asking is, when we sent out that survey to all the people, and if you had looked at it or read it, were there any questions in there that may pertain to what you want to do presently in the future now? You know what I'm talking about?
Are you referring to the last time around's cable survey?
I gave Karen a copy of the cable survey that we, the cable committee, developed and sent out to people.
9 years ago. Right.
Was it 9 years? I don't know how many years
Well, it was
ago
before
is.
the last contract was negotiated, right?
It was, no, after. It was when Duffy was on the committee and 3 or 4 other people. I don't know what, but it wasn't before.
But it was before the contract was signed. That's what all this was doing, right?
It was
Yes.
2012, okay, yeah, maybe it
So-
was 2012. The point of the matter is, I'm not trying to double the efforts of work around here. I was just trying to pose questions, which we sent out to people, and I don't know if that would help you at all to look at it. That's all I'm saying. Excuse me for my...
Yep.
That's all I got to say. Thank you
Okay.
very much for listening.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a nice week.
Terrific.
I'm gonna make a motion that we go into non-public
Excuse me, Chief, are these yours?
Yes.
I
RSA
thought you were gonna put us on our wall.
There's a
91A,
missing spot on the
Ah.
wall.
3,
Thank you.
Roman 2, parent C for
Second.
reputation. All those in favor?
Wood, yes.
Marcus, yes.
I'll be yes.